Good evening, everybody. Tonight's Board of Selectmen meeting, Monday, August 17th. Welcome. I hope everybody's been enjoying the wonderful summer. We start off every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody stand, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to announce the meeting is being recorded and transmitted via cable television. We have a pretty aggressive agenda tonight. The first item on the agenda are personnel board interviews. We've had about 12 applicants for that board. It's a board of 5. So we're going to interview at least 4 members tonight. We're going to do some at the next meeting, and if we have some left over, we'll do it in the second meeting in September. So I'm going to try to get them all done by...
Mr. Chairman,
yeah.
we had continued the Yard House hearing until 7 o'clock, so we'll have to take that up
So
first.
we're going to move that out of order?
Yeah, that is
Okay,
taken up
okay.
first.
So we'll excuse us. We'll move the deliberation of the Yard House disciplinary hearing out of order to the... We'll cut that up first. I see they're here in the front row, and Counselor, if you'd like to come up to the podium and...
Sure.
Introduce yourself. And
Thank you again. My name is Timothy Perry. I represent the Yard House, and we're here with 2 members of the staff again. And any further questions that you have for me, I'm happy to answer.
sure, thank you.
Just to update the board, they have hired a detail. They hired it the weekend after our last meeting, and I believe they have that detail every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday since then.
I want to thank them for that. That was pretty acted quick on that. Follow the direction of the board on that item. Have they signed a letter saying it would be permanent?
They have not at this point, and that was something that was going back and forth between council.
Yeah.
I can let council address that, but part of the issue was the hiring of the police details was going to be a mitigating factor in what this board decided for punishment, if any. That's not spelled out in the letter because I couldn't spell it out in the letter because the board hasn't taken a position on it. Is that about accurate, counsel?
Yes. So just to bring you up to date on that, Tom Mullen and I, and now Meredith and I today, over the last month, have had several discussions. As noted, the Yard House itself has been working directly with the police. The Thursday after the Monday meeting, we had the detail in place. Council and I started talking then. The roadblock basically that we run into is under the public meeting law. My understanding is that the board has to take some action first before the council can really hammer out details of an agreement like this. And so we've kind of deferred to that over the last few days to see what the board intended to do. And I will say this, there's no question in my mind that the Yard House and the town and the police department are going to continue to work well together. Whatever the resolution is here, they have no intent other than to continue to work with the chief. He's been very good about getting the details and the timing out to them so that they can hire the appropriate people, and obviously they've been paying for the details, and it's I think it was important to the board that it was Linfield Police personnel, and they've been able to do that. I think going forward we may have some logistical issues, but again, I mean, there's no question in my mind but that the Yard House and the town will work this entire situation out. We appreciate all the time that the board's put into it, and we appreciate the time that the council has put in with me. So.
And that delay, so it's just for the council, this is more just procedural right now, the delay on signing the letter.
Okay. Yes, we are waiting to hear what the board's decision is with
Okay.
how many
Oh.
days of suspension, if any.
Well, when we discussed it at the last meeting, we were told they were 2 separate and distinct items. We'd have any suspension or an abeyance of suspension be handled by the board. Any agreement for details there on a permanent basis is a separate agreement that you basically had agreed to do, and that we were just trying to get that put into paper. and signed off on. So I didn't think they were going to be combined as one agreement. There were two separate items. I know the manager here was, are you more of the district manager? Yes. Yeah, and he agreed to doing that, and that was fine. We said, let's get that in writing. Let's get that ready for this meeting, so then we can talk about what we might do, if anything, as far as a suspension. And so that was the intention of that July meeting going into this meeting. It seems like you've kind of combined the two as one, and it wasn't really what I thought we had in mind. Was that
Well,
what you understood it?
What the discussion was last time, the board could not require the police detail as part of this proceeding. However, the board's position was that if the Yard House agreed to hire a police detail, they would look at that as a mitigating factor in any type of discipline they might impose. Is that your recollection, Counsel?
I think that's how it was put.
So when you looked at the letter, that was what it talked about, that this would be considered as a mitigating factor in the board's deliberations. But once the board makes a decision, then it will be just an agreement standing with the Yard House that they have agreed that they will hire a detail when possible. Because, as Chief Breen said, there will be times when we might not be able to get anybody up there.
Right, and we understand that. If there's a shortage of police officers, you might have to pull from another town, but primarily they come from Linfield.
Yeah, they get off to Linfield first.
Yeah, and the Linfield police officers, as you might know, have gotten to know the area. They were there was a detail there when the Yard House first opened on the busy nights, and then it kind of tailed off for a while. And that's why we thought that it worked better when there was a detail there. It always did. So I think that was, and I appreciate you doing that. It's something that I think is going to prevent any of this happening in the future, especially if, and I understand that you can't always handle it. If you got 400 people in there, you might miss something. That's what we're trying to get at. I was a little, set back that no one took ownership here. All right, there was 2 incidents within a week, and the Yard House didn't take any ownership to it. Matter of fact, they tried to tell us that it really had nothing to do with it. And that's where I really wasn't happy with that. I was hoping that there would be a little bit of remorse, maybe something along the line that, well, this will never happen again. We changed our policies, and we agreed to put a detail in place, but that didn't happen. We had, the answer we got was, we don't think we ever served the first guy, and the second guy might have had something else wrong with him. And that, of course, I don't know for sure. Some of that might have been true, but that wasn't really what I think the board was looking for. I think at least I wasn't looking for. I was looking for a little bit of ownership to what happened, and say, look, we're going to not let this happen again. We've made sure the policies inside were going to be changed or adhered to, and the addition of a police officer outside will certainly help on those busier nights. That's kind of where I was going with it, and I we didn't get any of that. So that's kind of where I said, well, I'd like to see both a detail and maybe some sort of a suspension, because there was 2 incidents within a week, and whether or not that first person there was any evidence that he was in there. He admitted to being in there. And the second person's, all his friends said, yeah, we were drinking a lot before we got in here. So, you got to take that at face value. And so I was hoping that the Yard House would take a little more ownership of this. And that just didn't happen.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I mean, I think respectfully, we submitted a lot of testimony at the last hearing. I know a lot of it surrounded the incidents themselves, but the Yard House took it upon themselves, and we talked about this at the last meeting, to hire an outside consulting company at their own cost and expense without even being informed that there were going to be violations issued. That was based upon an email from the chief of police that we hired a consultant, and what he did was not just come in and kind of give a presentation about how you do service. He came in on the first day, and I had the dates at the last meeting. I can get them out of my file here if you need them. But he came in on the first day and did a top-to-bottom surveillance. And then he had the meeting with the entire staff, and what we did was, what TIPS requires is that the serving staff get this training. We had everybody get the training, from busboys to wait staff to bartenders to barbacks, anybody who would be in a position to view an intoxicated person, because we wanted all hands on deck. It's not required, but we did that voluntarily. That was at great cost and expense to the Yard House.
And that was after these two incidents?
That was after after the
Okay.
incidents but before we got the violation notices.
Okay.
The chief had reached out and said, hey, we had these two incidents. And these guys met with them very shortly thereafter. But it wasn't because they were trying to get leniency here. They went and hired this company. The guy came in, and then he came in a third night and did another surveillance with his people, and just to make sure that the policies and procedures were being upheld. This is a company that takes ownership of issues like this, and I think the reason that you heard a defense was not because we weren't taking ownership, but because with me involved as well as their legal counsel, we're looking at the evidence that was presented, and we felt then, and frankly, we still feel today, that under the law, there is not sufficient evidence to say that these folks did anything outside of the law. The man who was outside of the Yard House claiming he had been inside, that testimony is hearsay testimony that's based upon someone who everybody says was intoxicated. So there's no evidence in that first instance. And in the second instance, the police department said themselves that he was passed out when they arrived. It's just as likely that there was another issue as with alcohol, particularly because, as I gave you the the receipt that everybody was looking for, those people were at the Yard House for 26 minutes or thereabouts. There were 3 people. They ordered 3 Bud Light beers and didn't finish them. So,
And I don't disagree with that one.
So I mean,
they
it's hard for us to take ownership of an issue that.
But his friends told everybody that they had been drinking heavily before they came there. So that was, and both the police officers that that came to the scene had questioned both the individuals. So that's what I was going by. I was going by the police officer's testimony of what happened.
And I don't want to get defensive and confrontational with you, because again, I know that you folks have put a lot into this and you're taking it seriously. What we're trying to project is that the Yard House also takes it seriously. They have policies and procedures in place, and they have tried to be very responsive to the board, but also just, you don't know all the conversations that go on between these folks and the police department, because they're ongoing, and it's kind of like, it's been very cooperative and very healthy, I think. But
I think somebody was very fortunate that an employee discovered the first person staggering down the sidewalk, because if that person ever got in his car and tried to drive, you don't know what could have happened. Could have killed himself, could have injured or killed somebody else. That's my bigger concern. You know, it's that what could happen afterwards. You know, I work in risk management, and what worst case scenario is. Well, that's the worst case scenario. What could have happened? That's what we look at, and how can we prevent that happening again? You know, and certainly police details help that. I mean, if a police officer is outside and he sees something like that happen, that person's not going to get 50 yards down the street. You know, but it should be caught before he gets outside the door, and that's the point. And so that was, I would have liked to have heard something about, we're going to have somebody else at the door, inside, to make sure that somebody that doesn't walk out like that, or we're going to be more vigilant on the, between our servers and our bartenders, something along that line. And that's what I'd like to see, you know, within the establishment. Because I certainly have been there, you know, my children go there, and thousands of other people go there. And we certainly don't want to see that opportunity happen again, where somebody just falls through the cracks and can cause a severe accident within the town. So, you know, I appreciate you doing the 3 nights with the detail. That's, you know, that's really gonna help give a comfort factor to everybody and certainly serve the purpose of the town. As far as what we talked about for any kind of disciplinary action, I think we discussed, I know Selectman Barrett had mentioned 4 nights, Selectman Terranova mentioned 3 nights. I had mentioned 2 nights with 2 nights in abeyance for a 2-year period. You know, that's where we had left it at the last meeting, and we didn't vote on anything. We wanted to see this details get put in place. I certainly would like to let my other board members here speak about it and render their opinion.
Well, first, I'd like to thank you for being a man, a company of your word, and writing right away and bringing on a police detail. In my mind, that goes miles. It shows your intent that you're looking to correct an error. In life, there's always things that happen, and I think the way you get measured is how you respond and correct. And I think that was a big step in my mind. I think that there certainly were errors here. We don't need to get into any wrangling over, you know, what exactly the situation was, but there were 2 very serious incidences. And I think that with you bringing on the detail for 3 nights a week, coupled with your outside consultant that you brought in, that tells me you're looking to make some serious change in your establishment. Not just, okay, we have a police officer, we're doing what you want, leave us alone. Of course, the more serious issue is better training your staff so that the police officer doesn't have to take action. That, in my mind, is the most important issue. So if your staff is adequately trained and the manager, you're looking around, making sure that mistakes don't happen as best as you can in a well-populated establishment, that we do our best that no one gets hurt. We don't want anybody leaving your establishment drunk, and we certainly don't want them getting into an accident and, God forbid, hurting anybody else, including themselves. So with all that in mind, I think the first big step with the police officer at the door is huge. Now, what do we do to make sure that you as a business know how serious we are about the matter? I think you've come a long way, and I would be inclined to put 2 days of closing your doors in abeyance for 2 years. And if you don't have any issues that, I don't know what the technical terms are, but then your slate would be clean, so to speak. I don't know how my fellow selectmen feel.
So like turn over, so you'd reduce it to 4 to 2 and have just 2 in abeyance?
Yes.
I mean, I have to agree with both selectmen on this issue, certainly. You acted quickly. I mean, my main thing is the police detail, the coverage there at the Yard House. I think it's good for the Yard House. It's good for Market Street to have that type of coverage on the weekend and those days especially. So that's something that I think is a positive. Would this be included as part of the penalty of, so that this is, so it's separate than the penalty, the police detail. This is more they're doing that. How many years can we hold it in abeyance?
When I've looked at all the cases, it's been 2.
Okay.
I agree.
You know that?
Yes,
Yeah, 2
my
years.
research
Less,
showed,
but 2's been the most. Probably around 30 cases.
Okay, and then you would sign, then they would sign the agreement on the police detail indefinitely? Is that how we're gonna word it, that it'd be an indefinite detail for the 3 days?
I think it would be a two-year detail.
Well, the original agreement, we would do a permanent detail.
Permanent detail,
And
permanent
and then we
detail.
would discuss any penalty after that.
They've agreed to hire the detail, so I
Yeah.
don't think that's an issue at this point. We
Right.
just need to draft it up and say that the Yard House will have a detail on these nights when available.
Now, was that the understanding of the Yard House? 'Cause that was my understanding at the last meeting, it would be a permanent detail.
I think when we initially had the conversation, it was an act of good faith because it was, the first time we had that discussion.
Yeah.
And I think that when we wanted to come back this month and kind of find out what the decision was of the board, that at that time we were going to make a decision based on what your recommendation was.
We're thinking, wait to see what we decide here and then let us know if it's permanent or not.
Yes, because I think that we got a lot of information today, if I'm not correct, and so we wanted to get a little bit more information before we were committing. But just to say, you know, that the police detail is a safety net for us. It's not something, it's not their job to police our building, it's ours. And so again, I think it's a deterrent with the people coming into the building that might be impaired, as well as people, you know, not wanting to get impaired and leaving, things like that. It's not their job to do that, that's our job. And so we're committed to making sure that the police detail is extra. Our job is to make sure that we are doing our due diligence and we say our best.
Well, we can't enforce the police detail. We can't make you do a police detail. We can only ask that you do it. You would obviously had agreed that you would, and you know, obviously we're happy that we came up with an agreement. That's why we wanted the agreement in place for this meeting. So, and I believe we did talk about making it a permanent detail. There wasn't any time frame put on it. And that was the last discussion.
Permanent.
So if
Can I just have a question
Go ahead.
about council? If
Okay.
they did not make it permanent, they decide after tonight, could we revisit the penalty of the?
If we had the 2-day suspension held in abeyance, and they didn't, and they stopped the detail,
Yeah. Well, if they read the letter, if they don't sign that letter, or if they come back tomorrow, and
Probably condition the abeyance on no further violations and having the detail for 2 years.
right, for the 2-year period. I don't think that we could hold the abeyance forever.
right, so
No,
No, I think they were talking about the detail.
no, just a
Is
letter
there a
of.
time limit on the detail?
I don't know that, for our sake, I think they would have to have another violation for them to revisit it if the 2-year abeyance period was up.
that's why I understood it had to be two separate items.
Right.
You know, that's what, if there's a penalty or not a penalty, that's one thing, and the detail would be a separate agreement, that they would just have a detail Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, forever. You know, that was what we talked about last time. And that's why it's hard to put them together, because any penalty phase would have a term to it. And the detail, we didn't want to have a term to it,
Okay.
okay?
That discussion would actually come up on license renewal as opposed to
Mm-hmm,
the penalty.
mm-hmm, okay.
So is the detail something we can bring up again with the license renewal?
It's something you could discuss as part of the license renewal, yes. But again, you can't require it as part of this process.
Okay.
I guess Chris's question would be, and this would be for Meredith, if they worded the motion on the abeyance, Meredith, that the abeyance is predicated on no further incidents within the 2 years and a police detail, so that if they stop doing the police detail, they could oppose the 2-day suspension. Could they do that? Are you following me?
I am. I think so. The agreement that we discussed had those terms in them, and based on my research, that's acceptable.
So that would at least lock them in for 2 years.
Yeah,
So 2 years is the maximum term.
That is the maximum term for the abeyance that I saw in going through these cases.
My research confirmed that.
And they are boring cases.
Very.
so what I understand, what Selectman Terranova is proposing, and I would tend to agree, is we would agree to possibly 2 years of abeyance, 2 years in abeyance, no penalty now, if you agreed to this, signing the 3 nights of detail as a permanent position without any term to it. That's what's on the table. Do you have any opinion of that one, Selectman
I
Barrett?
would want to see an agreement for the permanent details, not so much the abeyance. I want to see a permanent detail. That was my that was absolutely the agreement. We came away. I thought we'd have a signed letter tonight on that.
Yeah,
It's
and the-
unfortunate we didn't have that letter. I understand you wanted to wait to see our decision, but I thought we were pretty kind to delay that. I know Selectman Terranova wanted to delay it to this meeting to kind of give the opportunity to come bring that letter to us. We don't have that letter.
Right, and that, I was told by town council that letter could not be completed until your action is completed
Okay.
because of the public meeting law. It's not that we've been not trying to cooperate.
That's a letter you will sign, I would think. Certainly, we could revisit this at the renewal of your license. would certainly be a larger issue for the yard house.
Well, the problem is that the letter includes legal language that has to be reviewed by Tom and I
Yeah.
after you make your decision. So if it was as simple as saying we could agree to something, right now Tom and I could have done that in the hallway after the last meeting, but it's not that simple. So once the board makes its decision, I think Tom and I, or whoever town council will be as the point person on this, we'll have to sit down, see what the action's been taken. I'll have to talk to my client about what their rights and obligations are, and if we can come to an agreement, which, like I said, there should be an agreement that these two sides make, because from everything I've seen, they both want the same thing. They want what's best for that area and what's best for the town and the establishment going forward. So it shouldn't be a problem, but if we could, if it was as simple as you're projecting, Tom and I could have done it. And there's legal implications because of the public meeting law that we can't finalize what and again, they drafted it, not me.
Yeah.
So they put it in front of me, and then we've been held up because of that.
Is it probable that the Yard House would agree to enter into an agreement with the town to have an indefinite detail at your establishment?
Yes, I mean, it's something that, you know, obviously it's a large cost, but it's something that I think that we want to be good neighbors. I mean, we are part of the community, like we talked about last month, and, you know, Ed comes up here 5 days a week, 6 days a week, you know, to work, and so we want to make sure that there's a confidence with you that we're going to be good members of the community and that we're going to take care of business.
Right. And that was I think of everybody in this board, that was their understanding at the end of the last meeting, that was going to happen, that you would have a detail permanent for those 3 nights. And that if once that was in place, we'd talk about the mitigating factors and whether or not we'd do anything as far as a suspension. And now you're saying that that was not possible until this meeting would happen first with the agreement. But I think that's the problem. I think we put the two pieces together, and they shouldn't be together. I think they should be separate. I think there should be a separate agreement that they would agree with the town of Linfield to have a detail every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, without any term to it at all. And then we were going to take that into account tonight to decide whether or not there was going to be any nights of suspension. And that's what we were hoping to get tonight. So Meredith, the question is, can we make a separate agreement that just deals with the 3 nights?
I don't know that we have grounds to be able to hold them to that kind of agreement, because right now they're doing a police detail to mitigate their circumstances for these 2 incidences. And I'm sorry, but I just came into this. I've been out sick, and I've just been briefed, and I wasn't under the impression that it was indefinite or that it was 2 separate agreements, so I apologize for that.
We don't have grounds to do that.
You can't require it. There has to be a good faith
It's a good faith.
It's a good
agreement with the
faith
Yard
agreement,
House.
Okay.
not a requirement of the board.
And you guys do this at other establishments for the Yard House. I know you mentioned Fenway.
2 parties can contract on anything.
Exactly.
So we can
Yes, you
agree.
can.
So that was the contract I was expecting
Yeah.
to have drawn up between the town and Yard House, as just a separate good faith agreement.
But what you can do as part of this is, if you go along with Tom's suggestion, a 2-day suspension with both days held in abeyance for a 2-year period, predicated on there being no additional incidents at the Yard House and the provision of a detail on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. You can do that, as I understand it from Meredith, here, now, and then they're locked in for 2 years.
And then we'll sign the permanent letter.
And then we can,
Yeah.
that'll be separate, but we could,
Yeah,
we-
it's a
right,
separate, yeah.
right. But at least then they're in for 2 years.
So there's no way of making the permanent detail part of this?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, and that was the reason for the 2 separate agreements.
But that'd
Right.
be, that's, I mean, they've said they'll have a detail. They've acted in good faith to this point. I don't have any reason to believe they wouldn't act in good faith beyond this point.
Is that would you be willing to, if we were to put this on extension to our next meeting, which is not as far away in days as we went this last month, you think we could expect some sort of a proposal for a permanent detail?
Well, again, I think we're going to run into the same problem because you're asking to keep these separate, but what you have to understand is that the Yard House does not have a legal obligation to do it. They've
Correct.
been doing it in good faith.
But it's good faith.
But what they've, right,
Yeah.
and what town council and I had negotiations surrounding what the board was going to do. As you know, we don't feel that under the law, as I said, that these were violations. And so to be hit with that and then also to try to keep it separate and say, you'll undertake this extreme cost and expense voluntarily is a difficult pill to swallow, as you might imagine. So we would have to sit down. Once you make your decision, we'll have to sit down, and I'll have to sit down with the people at the Yard House and determine what is in their interest as we proceed.
Yeah.
So we really can't make the type of commitment you're asking for until you make your decision. And Tom and I got to this point over the last 30 days over and over again. And
Well,
so-
it would appear that you've heard from the three of us in excruciating detail. I think you know what direction we're all leaning in, and now we're asking for yet one more act of good faith on your part, and I think that you would be happy with the outcome from the way it appears to me. But if we're going to play this catch-22 game, we could postpone it, waiting for you to come forth with a proposal with the detail.
Yeah, because I think you were caught up with the agreement because you were trying to combine them together, and they don't need to be combined. I think that's where you're caught up.
Well, I didn't combine it. I was
It may have been
given,
our town council.
yeah, I was
You know,
given a
that's fine.
document that
We
combined it.
can
and so-
separate it, and I know the general manager already said he would be agreeable last meeting to do it, so I think that was already the good faith that we were relying on, and we thought that would show up today.
And we're removing the 2 days. I agree. I think that's put the two in abeyance. And certainly, we came here and we've agreed to, in our good faith, and certainly seeing what we've seen with the detail thus far. I mean, I'm willing to delay this until the next meeting until I see that proposal or the letter of the permanent detail and put two in abeyance, because right now you're looking at 4 days. And at that point with the detail, we had two in abeyance, I believe, is what we were discussing at that point.
But at the end of the last meeting, we talked about
Two and
two-night
two.
suspension, two in abeyance.
And we could even consider if we see the permanent detail. I mean, it doesn't have to be Friday, Saturday. I mean, maybe we can give you that ability to another day of the week. Certainly, it's going to be a cost of having a permanent detail at the Yard House. But it was a. I mean, I started right off at 4 days, no in abeyance. But once we started to talk about the detail and permanent detail, to me, I think that's a positive for the community, a positive for Market Street. There's a whole lot of issues right now going around Market Street. Certainly, there's a lot that I want to make sure we cover there, and one of it's the safety of the people at the Yard House and around. So I want to see that permanent detail.
You know, just the way they end up getting commingled, and I don't want to speak for the Yard House, but if Yard House is going to be hit with a big suspension, then they're not going to do the detail. They're not going to take this cost and this cost. They'll just go appeal the suspension, and that's that. Whereas if there's no suspension, then maybe they'll take cost B over here. And again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's kind of how they get commingled, and that they want to see what the penalty is before they agree to something else. Because if the penalty's too harsh, then they will exercise their legal rights to go down that road and say, well, we'll just.
Well, I think what we're looking at now is if you would agree to the 3 nights of detail on a permanent basis, we'd be willing to put 2 nights on suspension in abeyance, you know, that we would not impose any penalty at this point other than the 2 nights in abeyance for a 2-year period. Okay, and that's kind of, that leaves no other cost to the Yard House, and of course it doesn't involve any any nights that you have to be under suspension. You know, unless there's some mitigating or tragic factors later on that we have to, again, sit down and talk about. But that would be, you know, something that I would think would be the most reasonable agreement at this point from this board to you, you know, and we'd like to see you come back at the next meeting with a separate document that would just say you would agree to the 3 nights of police detail on a permanent basis, an agreement between the Yard House and the town, knowing that we're going to put 2 nights in abeyance and not have any suspension.
Okay.
Okay?
So that allows me to have the conversations I need to have. So
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Is it possible for us to make a motion that, providing they enter into this agreement that we're requesting, that we could move forward with this? Or do we, there's no way to make
A
the
conditional-
motion conditional upon this agreement?
I think it would probably be cleaner just to come back.
Okay.
If it's not an agreement, we have authority here
You're
to.
gonna
Okay.
confuse me.
Okay, so.
Then
is
I'd
that-
like to make a motion to postpone this hearing
To the 9th.
to September 9th at 7 PM.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Counselor,
Aye.
it's all done, Counselor. I don't think anybody has to come back.
Okay. I'll talk
I
to
won't make
council.
anybody come back if you and Tom are all in agreement.
Okay.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you. Mr. Fox, no, Mr. Fox.
Jim Fox, Hawks Lane.
Jim, we're not going to take any comments on this one.
Okay.
We're all done, we're all done with it. We're going to move along. Thank you.
I guarantee you, they got a cop in Boston on Brookline Avenue when there's a Red Sox game. Anything over 200 people, you gotta pay for a detail.
Thank you.
That's Boston.
Thank you, guys. So,
Thank you.
yeah, if we put that together,
Thank you.
that'll be the best situation. Okay, thanks, guys. That's about that whole detail. Okay, the next item, we're going to go back to the first item, which is the Personnel Board interviews. Like I said, we had about 12 people apply for the 5-member board. Our first candidate was Jerry Schulman. I know Jerry's here somewhere. Hey, Jerry, why don't you come up to the podium? Sure. Sure. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Phil.
And just,
Oh, I
and
was in
just,
your office-
just
Your office 2 weeks ago.
quickly, the Personnel Board is a 5-member board. That's an advisory board to the town administrator on personnel issues. It could be ranged from hiring to salaries. It could be part of the collective bargaining, but it's an advisory board to the town administrator.
Is it an
And there's- if you
advisory
look
to
through
the
our charter,
selectmen?
there's a
To the
detailed
selectmen also, isn't it?
description. Excuse me?
Advisory to the selectmen also and the finance committee.
Yeah, any
and,
personnel matter.
Personnel,
But
yeah.
if you look at our charter, it has a description of the exact
I've read it. I have it.
functions of the board.
Yeah.
And what I'd like the candidates to do is just give us a brief description of their background and tell us why you'd like to be on the personnel board. Jerry,
Well, I don't have a resume with me. You must have it
you like it?
over there. No, I can, by this time.
You must know it well.
I've been a resident of Linfield for over 40 years, and just in the last couple of years, I have the time to help. So I'm on the Housing Authority. I've been vice chairperson of the Housing Authority for 2 years, chairman of the Housing Authority Expansion Committee. As a matter of fact, they're here tonight on a separate issue about Harvey Park, about a tract of land, which I hope is approved eventually because it'll be beneficial to the town, Housing Authority, and to the town. Since I was a little boy, I've been very active in community affairs. When I was a teenager, growing up in Everett, I was president of an organization that comprised 3 states, Massachusetts, Maine, and New Hampshire. In fact, while I was in college, I finally had to give it up because I wanted to go to law school. But I had to deal with personnel people. When I went in the Army, I dealt with personnel as part of my function. As a matter of fact, I forgot to put on my resume I assisted the advisor to personnel, Steve Fernandez, was a close friend of mine, so I had a lot of experience in dealing with personnel at Hanscom Air Force Base, which I did for a while. Now I'm assisting him in Woburn. I've been president of 2 temples during my lifetime, Temple Beth Shalom in Peabody. It was a while back when I first got out of the Army. And I was president of the temple in Everett for 15 years. Unfortunately, they're closing their doors now. I was also in dealing with personnel and with people a while back during the time of refuseniks, of Soviet Jews coming out of the old Soviet Union under Gorbachev. I was chairperson of the North Shore Soviet Jewry Committee. I brought in over 100 Russian Jews to this country, a lot settled in Peabody. It was part of my function to find them jobs and negotiate with employers and salary and all that. So I've been doing that my entire life. And when I said in the Army, I supervised people, and I assisted at, at Bedford, at Hanscom. I don't know what else to tell you. I want to help. I feel that a foundation for a strong town or city are your personnel. And the stronger your personnel are and your employees are in the town, and this is a very strong town, and as long as I'm around, I just want to see, help as much as possible and to strengthen everything goes on, which is, you guys have a big responsibility. So I forgot what I put in the resume. Anything else? I think I've spoken long enough, and I'll be pleased to answer any questions right now. Oh, of course I forgot. I employed people in my law offices, which was something. I once employed five, and well, I retired, well, semi-retired. I'm not really retired now. I wish I were. Three people. So I've always supervised people, dealt with salaries, with wages, with resumes, with surveys, and things like that. Oh, I was on I forgot, in Everett. I was, look at you, so forever, Chris.
Graduate of Everett High School, Jerry?
Yeah, yes, I did, a long time ago, and I played baseball, too. A little Jewish boy in the baseball. I was a shortstop,
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We get an impressive education.
Absolutely.
Your education history is impressive. You went to Harvard, BU Law. You got an impressive. I mean, I've known Jerry for 30 years. I did work with him in Boston in his legal trade. Saw him quite often. I don't have a lot of questions for Jerry. I've known him.
Oh, can I just say I was on the Planning and Redevelopment Commission in Everett under Carlo, Mayor Di Maria, for 3 years. So what my function was. It was to, seek out abandoned homes and all that stuff there that, that weren't, that were vacated.
How long were you on that board?
I was on that for 3 years under Carlo. Oh, also, I was chairman of the Interfaith, the Clergy Association in Everett, a while back with Bishop Robert Brown
Yep.
of the Zion Baptist Church. And I was chairperson of the Clergy Association that was just a year, and then, it's rotate, something like that, in which I had to deal with a lot of people and hire and fire and all that. So that's my experience anyway. Okay.
Jerry, we've come to know each other quite well over the past few years, and I know your resume very well. Your education is beyond compare, so I really don't have any questions for you.
Thank you. By the way, thank you for the pen. I was in your office seeing a client in your building, and I took a pen from there, a Terranova pen.
Any of those pens around?
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, anything else? Any questions?
I think we're good.
Anything?
We're good.
Well, Jerry, thank you for your
Thank you
service.
very much.
Thank you to Everett and Linfield.
Yeah. You're at the high school. And say hello to
Mr. Forrester?
Norman. Yeah, Freddie, and
Oh,
to
absolutely. Will
Eric.
do.
Eric. His
Norman.
aunt worked for me for 20 years.
Yeah.
Eric's aunt, Andrea.
Yeah, great principal.
Yeah,
Good
tell him
guy.
I said hello.
Definitely will. Thank you.
And Freddie. Oh,
He's the best.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
The next candidate we had was Dennis Ritchie. I saw Dennis here. Is he out in the hall?
He was in the back there.
Was he?
He did tell me he had a meeting later
this evening, he thought he could make it. That's when we thought it would be at the.
So we might have run a little late
Yeah,
for
he
him.
was here and he'll leave.
Yeah, just double check, just see if he's here. If he had to leave, we'll bring him up next time. I know he was on a tight time schedule.
He was in the room back there.
Space the chairs more. I think I'll space the chairs more.
Probably this second meeting in September. Depends how quickly we can get everybody here. You had to leave? Okay, we'll have Dennis come back in the September meetings. The next candidate would be Katie Shea. Katie, if you could come up to the, introduce yourself, and again, just give us a little background and tell us why you'd like to be on the Personnel Board.
Okay. Hello, my name's Katie Shea, and I did apply for the Personnel Board. The reason why I applied for the Personnel Board is it's something that does interest me. I grew up in Linfield, going back to my beginning. I graduated from Linfield High School. I was president of my class for 4 years through Linfield High School, and when I went off to college, I learned a lot being president of my class in Linfield, dealing with a lot of personalities, and I love Linfield. So, and when I went off to college, Bentley University, I founded the first national sorority at Bentley, and upon graduation, it was the largest sorority on campus as well as the fastest growing Greek organization. When I graduated, I moved back to Linfield, and I started working for a Fortune 500 company, BASF, as well as moved on to Motorola. And I also worked at a startup company, PictureTel Corporation, and my husband and I owned we purchased a manufacturing company up in Salisbury, Massachusetts. And since that time, we've had long-term employees, we've employed family members, sons and fathers and sons, and we've turned the business around and had the business grow, and continually looking to hire best in breed people in their capacity and their training, technology backgrounds, getting a very good cultural environment in a manufacturing plant in Salisbury. So this is my background. It's something that I'm very interested in. I also, and I want to contribute to Linfield. But over the summer, what I've also been doing is talking with a lot of people, because I think, as most of you know in this room, I have ran for selectman for in Linfield against Mr. Barrett. And the feedback that I've been getting from people on how I can best serve the community is they really want me to stay involved in neighborhood issues and continue to advocate for them. In addition to that, many of you know, if you Google Linfield Transparency, this is a blog that I maintain, and I get contributing articles all the time for that blog, and the readership for that blog has doubled. So based on the fact that I have reached out to a lot of people saying, what can I best do to serve this community, I'm going to be withdrawing my name for the Personnel Board, and I am going to continue to advocate for the people in Linfield, be responsible as far as providing you information that you want to see on the blog, and helping to make sure that our tax dollars are being fiscally and responsibly spent. So I want to thank you for the consideration, but I am going to be withdrawing my application.
Okay, thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
Okay. We also had Michael Walsh, who I also believe has withdrawn his application. Is that correct? Okay. All right. Okay, and the last one, we have Wayne Schaefer. Is Wayne here tonight?
Wayne unfortunately contacted me and not able to attend this evening. He's celebrating his wife's birthday.
Okay, so
That's more important.
we can move him along to the next meeting along with Mr. Ritchie.
Happy birthday to his wife.
Okay.
As he knows what's best for him.
Yeah, he is. That will go a long way.
I can't believe that. All righty. So we'll move on to the Board of Registrar interviews. So we have four residents that were proposed to us, 3 by the Democratic Party, 1 by the Republican. We have, I'll go through the 3 first for the Democratic. The first one was Nancy Fox. Nancy, why don't you come up to the podium again? Introduce yourself and just tell us why you'd like to be on the Board of Registrars.
Hi, my name is Nancy Fox. I live on Hawks Lane in Linfield. I'm married to James Fox. I have 2 daughters. One's an attorney and one's a social worker. I have 1 grandson. I'm a graduate of Salem State University. I taught for over 40 years. I'm a retired educator. I taught in Salem, Winthrop, Swampscott, and Nahant. What else? I've volunteered for 7 years at the Linfield Senior Center. Now that I have time, I like to give back to the community. I've been involved in government and politics my whole life. I love it. And my daughters and I give 2 college scholarships every year.
Great, thank you.
Very nice.
Well, we appreciate you coming forward. I mean, it's always nice to have new people come forward and volunteer to do things in town. I know the Board of Registrars, as long as everybody knows, we're looking for 1 position for the board. There's currently our town clerk, 1 Republican candidate, and one Republican member and 1 Democratic member there. And you just add 1 more. I don't know why it's a board of 4. That doesn't make sense to me, because you think you'd always have an odd number, but that one seems to be the one strange board that has an even number. But I don't have any questions for you, Nancy. Anybody, board members?
Oh, Nancy, thank you for your interest.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you for applying.
Next candidate's Wally McKenzie. Here is Wallace McKenzie. Yeah, I think he likes Wally better.
Yes.
We didn't get any resumes or background on these, so I'll let
Right,
you. I'll let
right,
you
I'll just,
go through it, and
yeah,
you can get it. Thank you.
Bob asked me to be here tonight, otherwise I would have sent it. Wallace McKenzie, 4 Debston Lane. Why I want to be on this. I've always had an interest in government and elections, but professionally I have a bachelor's from Worcester Polytech. I have an MBA in quantitative analysis from Rensselaer. I've spent time as a research associate after graduating from WPI. I've worked in operations research at Converse, the sneaker manufacturer. But primarily in my career, I've spent time in business intelligence, the mix of data, analysis, and technology. Started a business with 2 others, built it to 80 people and sold it. Spent time about 4 or 5 years at Oracle as a director in their business intelligence practice, then spent 4 years at a venture-backed turnaround. And then about 3 years ago, somebody sent me an opportunity, URL link to a opportunity in the public sector, which I had never worked in before. So I now am the Business Intelligence Director for the Executive Office of Education, which means that all of the reports that are generated for the schools, all 407 school districts in the state, come through my office. And that's going to add a wrinkle to my qualifications, which came up at 6 o'clock tonight. On the government side, I've served as an elected official in another town. I've been a member of a finance committee during the implementation of 2.5. I've served on a master plan committee. I've served on a state government task force for business development, and also on the Mass Board of Centers of Excellence. In Linfield, I've served on the current town technology committee, which probably should be reconstituted, since that has 3 members, one of whom is no longer in town, but it should, at the next time, you should reconstitute that. I chaired the 2004 override elections, both of which were successful. And just as a kind of numbers thing, in Linfield, we always think of ourselves as a Republican town, but it's actually 20% Democrat, 19% Republican, and an astounding 60% independent. At the last set of numbers that I looked at from 2013, I think that Republicans might actually be ahead of the Democrats right now. On elections, I understand the value of a vote. I've voted in races where there weren't even any contested races. As people remember, that there was one election a few years ago where the only thing on the ballot were the Democratic and Republican town committees. And, if you took a look, there were about 400 people who voted in that election. I've managed races from town meeting members to state senator. I've served as a statewide field director for governor's races, and I've served as co-state directors in presidential races. I understand the value of working with town clerks in the whole election process, down to notifying them in advance of where people, when you're going to have counters and observers. I've been involved in recounts in college. The head of the civil engineering department at WPI decided to run for city council in Worcester, and it wound up being a paper ballot recount in which he won by 27 votes. I've been involved in hanging chads, recounts, and also with electronic reading. And I've participated in multiple voter registration drives over the years. And just as a commitment to making sure that every vote counts and then stressing to people the value of participating in the electoral process, my youngest child turned 18 today, and I made sure that she went down and registered. I don't know whether she registered as a Democrat. She did not want to tell me that.
You said now you think the
Pardon me?
you think the Republicans are ahead, so that might.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. So I've always stressed the value of voting. Now, as I said earlier, at 6 o'clock tonight, one of the things that I've always, in the past 3 years, if you're a state employee or a municipal employee, you have to review the Ethics Commission. So I wondered whether being a state employee somehow might have, make a long story short, State Ethics Commission called me back today, and they said in the broadest possible sense, because the group that I manage produces reports for each of the cities and towns in the 407 districts, might be considered that there might be a possible conflict in the broadest possible sense. If all I was doing was managing servers and computers for the state, no problem. But because I actually deal with the 407 districts, there is potentially a problem. So they said that if...
That's important data.
Yes. Yeah. So, and it's just the thoroughness, because I was wondering, those 3 years of having to sign off on all those things actually works. So the attorney from the Ethics Commission, she said there is a way around it, as there always are. They suggested that if you do want to appoint me, that you would have to classify the Board of Registrars, the entire board, as special municipal employees under Section 17 of Chapter 268. That way, and this all revolves around me being able to collect my state salary. If I wanted to forego my state salary, I could serve on the Board of Registrars without you changing that. I can tell you that I'll withdraw my application if you don't want to change that. So I just want to point that out, that if you wanted to appoint me, you would have to make the Board of Registrars special employees, which has no impact other than if it turns out that somebody is a state employee, they can collect their salary.
And we've dealt with that in the past.
I'm sure you have. So if there are any questions?
Thanks. No,
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
No, good.
No
Thank you,
question.
Wally.
Thank you, Wally.
Thank you, Wally.
The last on the Democratic side was Peter Perlmutter. I think Peter's here. Good
evening.
Step up, introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name
Tell
is
us why you'd like to be on the board.
My name is Peter Perlmutter. I've been in Linfield almost 30 years. I'd like to be on the Board of Registrars because I value the vote. I value the integrity of the vote and the importance of the vote. In the past, I've worked for the city of Pittsfield, for the state of Massachusetts in the area of employment and training. I've worked as a social science researcher, working on studies in the areas of employment and training, in criminal justice, in housing, in transportation. I've owned my own business for over 25 years, which I stopped about 7 years ago. And I take it a little bit easier now. I sell for other people, other places. After Nancy's and Wally's comments, I don't have much to add. I don't have much I can match. But if you have questions, I'm happy to help.
Well, I thank you for putting your name in and volunteering for this. I appreciate it. Any
you.
questions from the board?
No questions.
No?
Thank you,
No,
Peter,
thank
for
you.
applying.
Thank you, Peter. And on the Republican side, we have Richard Carmen. Richard?
That would be me.
That'd be you, yeah. Richard, come up, introduce yourself. Tell us what you've been doing and why you'd like to be on the Board of Registrars.
Sure. I know some of you in here, and some of you are my neighbors and friends. My name is Richard Carmen. I guess I'm one of the few Republicans volunteering for this position, but
You're the only Republican.
I am. But that's the problem. See, I don't think politics should come into play when it comes to registering voters and observing the vote. You have to be neutral, and I bring that to the table. I've lived in Linfield since 1991. When I got married, my daughter and I came to Linfield. We live on Bork Road. Unfortunately, my daughter did not go through the Linfield school system, so meeting people is a little more difficult in this town. But I've been involved with the Town Republican Committee. I was also a Master of the Lodge of Southborough, which is a Masonic organization. I'm a Shriner. I was a Reserve Deputy Middlesex Sheriff back in 2003 to 2004. I worked for 3 different companies. One of them you may remember, maybe not. It was called New England Telephone. then merged into AT&T, and then I ended my career with Fidelity Investments. Each one of those jobs, I had to deal with people. I had to resolve problems. I was a senior and data analyst at Fidelity, also involved with risk management. At AT&T, I was dealing with marketing and contracts. And at New England Telephone, I was an engineer. I enjoy small towns. I grew up in one called Southborough, about 25 miles west of Boston, in case you haven't heard of it. My father was town treasurer there for 14 years. My uncle was water commissioner. And I love small towns, and I like to get involved. I'm a people's person. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy the most.
Great.
And went to Wentworth, Northeastern, and Sloan School. So if you have any questions for me, I'm here.
Any other questions?
No, thank you for your
Thank
interest.
you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Well, we have our 4 candidates. If any discussion, or if anyone would like to propose a possible candidate, I'd take a motion.
First, I'd just like to thank the candidates tonight who've put their names forward for certainly the board of, for this board. It's a very important board. Certainly myself and Katie, we know the importance of that board, and we started in the spring. And having active volunteers, it's always difficult to choose one because we have people stepping forward who want to give back to their community. And so it's a difficult decision. It's one, if we certainly nominate one, I hope the others remain dedicated to serving their community. And
always come work elections.
And there's certainly, Trudy, you certainly.
Our town clerk is here,
Yeah.
just
But I'd like to nominate Richard Carmen for this board. Certainly, it's a tough decision, but he's the person I'd like to nominate.
Now, we're nominating one of the 4?
Yes, one of the 4 for the 4th spot on the board.
There's currently, correct me if I'm true, there's currently a Republican and a Democrat. The 3rd spot is vacant. So you can appoint a Republican, a Democrat, or an unenrolled. Who's checking in?
I think it's only Republican or Democrat.
Republican and Democrat.
I think an unenrolled's not available to that.
Only 2.
Yeah. Okay.
This is very tough, because I think you're all very well qualified. But I really must say that I was blown off my chair by Mr. McKenzie's background. You've done so much that, my own opinion, I think you'd be best suited for the position.
Okay, so right now, we have a motion from Chris for Mr. Carmen. Would you like to second that?
I can't.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. It's okay. Again, I appreciate everybody coming here. I mean, it's always hard when you have a group of people willing to do something and you have to pick one or two out of a bunch, but I'd be happy to second Chris's motion, and we'd nominate Richard for the position. And I want to thank the other members for applying. I appreciate it. And we'll put that to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Richard, welcome. Thank you for doing that. And
Thank you.
and I
Congratulations.
don't know how well you know Trudy, but Trudy's the town clerk, and yeah, you'll be working with her. And thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next item on our is the request by the Wakefield Chamber of Commerce and Friends of the Public Library, Linfield Public Library, for a one-day liquor license for fundraising event at the Linfield Public Library. Now, Nancy Ryan, our director, are you here to discuss this?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you come up to the, why don't you come up and tell us, give us, we have the form you filled out, but would you give us a little background on what this is all about?
The Wakefield Linfield Chamber of Commerce and the Friends have been working a number of months on a fundraiser. We're sort of trying to follow in the footsteps of the Chamber's work with the Wakefield Public Library for Blossoms at Beebe, which has been a very successful partnership for a number of years. So we're going to start off a little smaller than that, and we're going for Saturday night, October 3rd. We're going to hold it at the library, and it's going to be a comedy night. And we'd like to have a liquor license for wine and beer only, and one signature drink that someone is going to make up. So that's what we put in an application. The chamber is going to take out the liquor license.
And how would you set up the room for that? Because I'm just curious how where you would set that up in the library and how that would be handled.
Well, I started with Jack Roberto to find out what the occupancy rate is, and it's 325 people for the first floor. So what we're thinking of doing is setting up the liquor in the children's room and the food in our teen area, and we'll have tables set up through the first floor in the reading room.
Mm-hmm. and you're going to have a comedian?
Probably two or three. Two or three.
2 or 3 comedians come in?
Yep.
Okay.
And
where
we'll have
would their presentation be?
Probably it's going to be in the reading room.
Reading room?
Yes, in the reading room.
Okay, great.
Right in front of the stacks or underneath the mezzanine.
So obviously the facility is closed for the night.
That's correct.
Okay.
Actually, we'll probably close it at 1 o'clock that day
Right.
to facilitate setup.
To set it up and
Yep.
change the tables around.
Yep.
And I believe there's a police detail required for that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And has the chief signed off? Yep, chief has signed off. Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I certainly promote these type of events for fundraising. I think it's a nice thing to do.
Okay.
Where you can do it in your own facility is great, as long as you can make sure it's safe and that there's not anybody sneaking in and out of the back door, and it sounds kind of strange having the liquor cabinet in the children's room.
Yes.
But
I know.
Yeah,
I mean, that did not escape us.
Make sure there's not any
I
kids
noticed,
left.
but
Yeah, that's right.
the space is right.
Yeah, but I don't have any other questions. So the board members, any questions?
No, none.
No.
I actually went to an event at the library in Wakefield, and it was very well attended.
Is that the Blossoms at BB?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was well attended. Everybody was having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one was reading the books. Didn't want to damage the surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
everybody had a really good time.
Yep. We've heard wonderful things about it.
So it looks like it would be something that
Mhm.
would be really, really good for the community and for the chamber, especially since we're new to the chamber, right? So Linfield,
Yes, we are.
Wakefield Chamber, or
Yep.
Wakefield, Linfield,
Wakefield, Linfield. Yeah.
Wakefield,
Yeah.
Linfield. So you have effective dates of September 19th through October 9th. Are you having more than one event, or?
No, we were advised to request a license that 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, so you can move the liquor in before or maybe the night before and then move it out the following day on a Sunday. Otherwise, it has to be just for that 24 hours, I believe. That's my understanding.
And how would that be secured if it's brought in the day before?
It
In the
probably
children's room.
wouldn't be.
Not in the children's
Not
room,
the
yeah.
children.
No. We're not going to stash it in the green room either.
Yeah. How about up the stairs in the special
No.
secret room?
No, we're not going to stash it up
There
there.
either?
Well, usually if you're going to have someone, you can obviously have someone serve safe there. They usually deliver that the same day and take it the next day.
We are new to this, and there are a few things that probably haven't been answered as clearly as they should be, and that's probably one of them. The lengthening it on either side of the day was suggested to us.
Well, just as long as we know it's secure and obviously out of anyone else's reach, that's all we were concerned about. And
There was a member of
I'm
the
sure you'll take care of that.
There was a member of the chamber here, but unfortunately she had to leave. I'm also supported by Priscilla March, who was our former president of the Friends, and also Ann Miller, our trustee.
Yeah, you will guard the liquor, is that what you're saying? Yeah, okay. You're in charge.
I'll go over and make sure it's.
Yeah.
Plenty of volunteers for security on this position.
For a weekend, not just for one day.
That's what they're saying.
Well, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
asking for it to be on
Really,
either
for a
side.
weekend.
Well, they're saying they need 2 weeks on either side?
Or 1 week on either side.
Yeah,
Um,
so we're covering it.
Yeah.
Would you consider maybe October 2nd to the 4th? Or
Yeah,
5th?
I would do a day on each
Which is,
side. I don't
which
think
is what the
anyone-
ABCC suggests, ABCC, a day on either side.
A
day.
day on each side? I would do a day on each side.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. As I say, we're operating
And
from
for
Yeah.
The 4th would
10
be a
to
Sunday.
10-4.
Do you want to give them the next
Inexperience.
business day?
I give him the 5 then.
Okay, 10,
Yeah, the
10
next
to 10-5.
Business day?
Yeah,
Okay.
With the event to be held on 10/3.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So,
Do we know what the
Yes.
signature drink's gonna be yet?
No.
Can we get that? No?
No,
All
we
right.
don't. We don't know that. It's something to do with comedy, but
All right,
we
I'll take a
haven't-
motion to approve if we have all the questions answered.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license for the Wakefield Linfield Chamber of Commerce occur on October 3rd, but the license would be open between October 2nd and the 5th.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Best of luck with it.
Good luck.
thank you very much, and we hope to see everyone there.
We'll all be there.
We'll be there.
Everyone there.
Good luck.
$35 a ticket. Yes. Probably at the
library.
library. but We'll publicize it.
That's
Don't
a good
worry.
idea.
We'll publicize it thoroughly.
In both papers. As always.
It's gonna be in there now.
Should be the headline.
The next item on the agenda was we're gonna discuss the HGC Automotive. We had a compliance with their Class 2 motor vehicle license. I'm sure Mr. Chatus is not here tonight. I think we're just gonna get an update from our town administrator.
No, he had 2 conditions on his license that he was not in compliance with. One was the erection of a fence to block off part of his driveway. 2 was the removal of a portion of that driveway. He had not complied. We sent him a notice to come into compliance. The fence has been up, the pavement has been taken up, so he is coming into compliance, so I didn't have him in for a hearing at this point. We'll just monitor. He's going to have a landscaper, we're going to have it landscaped, and we will monitor to make sure that he doesn't exceed the car requirement that he has there.
Wasn't the chief concerned with us to still maintaining an excessive number of cars on his
Yeah,
property?
and we've, I go by it almost every day now and take a look. It's been much better, so we'll just continue to monitor that. If there's a problem, we'll have to bring him in, but he's coming.
I believe that was the concern, that we had something at the beginning of the summer where he was still,
He wasn't storing cars, they
Storing
had
cars
dealer
for a
plates on
day.
that aren't supposed to be there.
right, they were not supposed to be there. So
Right.
I would think that we would just keep an eye on it. If we have any more complaints of him.
We'll bring him in.
Keeping the, this gentleman goes to dealer auctions, he's a used car dealer, and he'll store some of the cars at his location, which is against his license, so we've asked him to reduce the size of his driveway and put a fence down the middle of it, so he can't stack a bunch of cars up there. So he has finally done that.
Yep.
And I just want to make sure we monitor it, that he does not use a lesser amount of cars and keep them, so as long as we can keep an eye on it, I think we're fine. We have a request for Market Street for extended holiday hours. We were asked to do the same last year. So they are asking for the day after Thanksgiving through January 1st for opening at 7 a.m. and closing at 11 p.m. Please note that not all stores will be opening and closed during these hours, but many request holiday hours to serve customers. That's certainly a reasonable request. We did the same last year. I think it worked out pretty well. Nancy, go ahead.
Yep, that's right. This really affects only the retail categories, fitness and beauty categories, just to be able to open later and open earlier. And we do hire, on the extended hours, we do hire police details, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the board?
No, thank you,
No?
Nancy.
Well,
Appreciate it.
could you just could you expand upon the details that you hire?
So we hire typically on weekend nights. We hire 1 to 2 details depending on the night and where it falls in the season to assist with traffic and just for presence. And then on Black Friday morning, the day after Thanksgiving, we typically have 1 to 2 details on staggered shifts starting early in the morning just to assist with the flow of traffic. And it's worked beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, it really flowed nicely last year, and I didn't think there was any issues. Do we know if most of the stores will be open at Christmas this year? We think most of Phase 2 will be up and running?
Most.
Yeah.
With the exception of 1 or 2.
Yeah, great. Well, I don't see a problem with this. I'll take a motion to approve the extended hours.
So moved.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nancy, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nancy, thank you.
Next is the field usage agreement and fee structure. We have Mr. Joe Maney here from the rec board. He's going to go over in detail every line of this agreement. Go ahead, Joe.
I am not going to go over it. So,
No, Joe, I'm kidding.
Recreation Commission asked me to appear before you tonight to, as part of the MOU between the Board of Selectmen and the school committee. The Recreation Commission was tasked with finalizing a fee structure for the Selectmen's approval. And it's pretty close to the MOU. There are some changes. The MOU had $20 per youth per season. LRC took that out and is asking for a $30 fee regardless of youth or adult per player per season. Same split as, you know, administration, maintenance, and long-term capital needs. They added a couple, most notably renting of the baseball field.
Yep.
We had tried to rent that out kind of as, let me back up. For the special events, it was the lowest fee in the MOU was $500 for a 4-hour block. Most people don't need it for a 4-hour block. The industry typically is $150. You know, Fenwick charges $150, Melrose is $150.
That's per hour.
Per hour.
Correct.
The new trade school in Middleton's $250 an hour. So we had this. When I say we, I'm not a voting member of the Rec Commission. I am an employee, but they had decided they would like to rent that at $175 an hour with a 90-minute minimum. And anybody you talk to is more than happy to pay. That is for the multi-purpose. The baseball, they weren't happy to pay. I had plenty of inquiries at $150 an hour, and it was just too expensive for them. So the board then decided, as opposed to the $175 per hour, to do it as $150 per game, and we were able to rent it out basically to one organization, and almost $3,000 later, it was a win-win for everybody. So the special events mirrors the MOU. 4 hours or less, you can get it for $500. The grass, $250. 8 hours, it would be $1,500. And the only other add-on from the MOU is it's almost a straight pass-through, is a surcharge. If you need the lights, it would be $35 for up to 4 hours.
35 an hour or 35?
No, 35 for the block, up to 4 hours.
Okay.
And I think Mr. Burke figured it out. It's about $32 to run them. So,
Right. So it's
you're not
it's pretty much a break even.
right.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I think it's great that we have something in place now. That at least getting close to getting something in place. We've been talking about this for several months, and the actual money we need to charge is still a little bit of a mystery.
It is.
We're trying to nail
It
it
is.
down. This was the first summer we actually rented the fields out, so we kind of got an idea what we could bring in for rental fees. And we'd like
have
to go
those
through,
if-
I'd like to go through a year or two of usage between the town fees and the outside rental fees to see what we can produce, so we can adjust these user fees to a point where we know we can replace these fields in 12 years, which is, 12 to 15 years is the useful life of these fields. So we have to know that we can put a fund aside and have these pay for themselves so when they finally have to be replaced. And hopefully they don't have to replace the same year or the same time, but you never know. What Joe, you had some fees structure you already used?
Yeah, what we've collected so far this year, we've got about 6,000 outstanding. I'm expecting about 33 of that tomorrow. So for the leagues, we've generated $9,380. And that league fees has only been adult so far. We did not charge the youth for the spring. So there were five over, 30, 40, 50 soccer teams. They generated $2,880. The Linfield over 40 softball generated $3,000. And I'm contradicting myself, but the flag football it's an outside organization. It's not affiliated with the town of Linfield, so they did pay, and they were roughly $3,500. But Little League and soccer and youth lacrosse haven't paid as of yet. So we've generated $9,380 from the leagues. Another 18,120 that we've received. So far we received about 27,500, and I would anticipate one of the AAU baseball teams owes 2,100, Mass Soccer owes 2,125, the Revolution Soccer Camp owes 1,000. And depending how long the men's lacrosse goes, they're going to owe another 600 a say. And depending what the numbers of the summer camps, you're looking at potentially up to about $1,200. So we're in the 34-5 range as revenue.
And that's before we even start talking about the fall sports.
That's before we start talking about the fall sports, right?
And do you know what the estimate is from the fee structure for the fall?
The fee structure, so right now we have one group signed up renting a field on Sundays, the Boston Breakers. Right now they're looking at about 60 hours, so you somewhere in the $9,000 range for them. I would imagine that the $3,000 for the men's soccer would be about the same, assuming they have the same number of players. There will be 5 teams again. We were able to add a 5th team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Football, I think he told me he had 80 some odd guys, so 2,500 from football. And if soccer has the normal 600, maybe 1,800 there.
Yeah.
18,000, excuse me. And then there's rental stuff all the time.
So if we're producing, if we have to replace 3 fields in 12 years, we have to come up with somewhere around $100,000 a year in net fees just on the field maintenance side.
Right. I mean, you're not. I can't imagine
field reserve side.
Yeah.
For the reserve
I can't imagine you'd break even. You may generate 100,000, but that's
split up.
That's split 3 ways.
Right.
I mean, I would argue the administrative cost is the most important, but
yeah.
But the maintenance is, when Andrew sends his crews down there, that's all coming out of this.
Right.
So I believe the percentage was, if you can go back to the MOU, I think the $30 fee was 15 long-term, 10 maintenance, and 5 administrative. In the
it was 15 maintenance,
15, 10, 5
administrative, and 10 long-term.
10 long-term, very good.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, according to the MOU, it was broken down. It was vague that the majority would be put in the long-term capital. So I think the board would have to make that a fixed percentage. I don't think the majority would work accounting-wise, certainly.
Well, I think like I said earlier, after we have a couple of years' experience under our belt, we'll have a better telltale on where the money's got to go,
absolutely,
how much we got to charge, and what the longevity is going to be, because the longevity of these fields has a lot to do with maintenance. You have to maintain them. You have to keep the crumble manicured in it, and they last longer. And we have a machine that does that. We have plenty of the material that they give you when you buy the fields. They give you a bunch of extra of the rubber crumble that goes in them, and we have to maintain them the best we can. And that, if you do it on a monthly basis, which we're scheduled to do, it'll extend those fields for years of time. We've seen other towns where they just never kept up with the maintenance of those fields, if you ever seen one of these fields, but all the black crumbles around the edges, and the middle's just kind of worn out. That field didn't last probably 2/3 of the time that it's supposed to have lasted. So it's important that we maintain these fields. Right now, these are considered the state-of-the-art fields around here, so the better care we give them, the better it is for us.
I was telling Mike Bearworth today that I was down there last week, and I'm walking up with these 3 girls, and they're about 20. I said, where are you guys from? Oh, Saugus. Your fields are better than us. And 20 minutes later, they had a 10-on-10 game, and so that's a separate issue, but they're coming out of the woodwork for them, certainly.
So how do you handle an issue like that?
If they're not interfering with a permitted group,
Because I know you've had some questions, some neighbors around the surf and softball field area, of activity of people.
yeah, I mean, that was right. There was a complaint from a level road abutter about groups being too loud. I went and I parked in her driveway the next Tuesday night. I couldn't hear a thing. I'm not saying she's wrong, but that instance, the only complaint I got was a permitted group, not people just coming down there and play. I mean, you're getting more people playing than there are permanent, and that's awesome in my eyes.
Yeah.
Just seeing fathers down there.
No, I know we wanted to get to
throwing the ball.
recreation, absolutely, and get the activity. But I have to say, you talked about the administrative costs, but I know that person, probably the same person we're talking about, had said you were very proactive and were right there and were hearing the concerns. And I've heard that from a lot of people in these fields, how present you are on these fields.
And we were lucky enough, Harvey Stone, local guy, he's an hourly employee as needed, and he's been great too. And most of the groups are taking ownership because they realize how lucky they are to have the facilities, and most of them are great policing themselves.
I noticed the last time I was down there, it was much cleaner than the first few times. I think you're right. I think everybody's starting to take a little more care of the field.
Yeah, there's a lot of
especially
ownership.
at the beginning of a season, they know they're going to need it for the next few
ownership,
months. Got to take care of it, and I've seen Harvey down there a few times. He's doing a great job. It's nice to have that extra person. I know when you and I discussed this before, and we talked about how they run the fields in Medford, that's what they do. They hire a couple people just to watch the fields. People walking out there with Gatorades and coffees and everything else, saying, tell them you can't have those out there.
It helps the Public Works put up some nice signs.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid
the
to
ones we can read
confront
now?
You do rentals to outside organizations.
Right.
Outside. So I would assume that when you do that, you have a written contract with these
Right.
outside organizations.
They provide the town with insurance, and we give them a field permit as well as a copy of the rules.
But did I hear you say that there's money outstanding now?
Yeah, I mean, there's
I mean, don't you?
Hey, Jerry, if you want to ask questions, so come up to the podium, please, come up and ask it, because people, the people that are watching at home they can hear his answer, they can't hear your question. Yeah, just come over and ask if you have a question for him. Yeah, come on, you can come up and just ask him a question, sure.
No, I thought I heard you say that there's some funds outstanding by outside organizations to the town. Now, when you have them sign the contract, you must get some money up front,
Right.
third, and then what do you do? When do you collect? You don't wait until they're through with the field hockey or the soccer or something.
No,
like
no.
that.
I mean, the two. There's probably 4 groups that owe. One guy is finishing up his fall tryouts. He's going to bring me a check tomorrow night for the baseball. The Mass State Soccer. She didn't know how many fields and hours she was going to use. She finished up literally Sunday. Today she sent me an email. This is what I owe you. Is this what you have?
Well,
It'll
what
be
do you
out
mean
today.
She told you what she owes you. You should be telling her.
Oh,
what's
our
in
figures
the-
matched. Our figures matched. Right. She didn't
what's
tell
in
me.
The contract that they owe.
Correct.
So
It's
the
an hourly.
town
Right.
Isn't out of money.
Correct.
Because you have a big maintenance fee and everything for the fields. You have to maintain. You have the lights. You probably have Andrew sends people down,
Absolutely,
custodians. I've
absolutely.
been through that. In fact, I was through it in Everett, you know.
Yeah.
So
The
I'm
two of you
familiar-
with Everett.
What?
I said the two of you with Everett.
That's right.
We've had a lot of success on the football field in Everett. We
Yeah,
expect
a
that
little
in
success,
Linfield.
a little
they got a football
Yeah,
team?
yeah, I think a couple.
Oh, I
They're pretty good.
know, they don't do too well, you know.
But Joe, I think this is more, I mean, these are volunteer organizations.
Get the money, you know.
Yeah,
for them
no,
time to time
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
Get through with their season, you know.
Right, I think it's easier to get one check at the end. Both organizations gave a deposit.
Be
They're not
careful.
going.
Joe, be careful of that at the end. I like to get it before they finish.
I had a few questions, Joe.
Yeah, Sean, sure.
Which is going to take precedent, the MOU or the LRC guideline?
If you approve this, the LRC guidelines.
This basically mirrors the MOU with a few changes, correct?
Correct.
In your definitions under item N, you're including all businesses in Linfield can use all the fields as the equivalent of a resident living here?
Which page?
It's definitions, section N.
Top of page 5.
Under the definition of a Linfield resident.
Let me read it, yep. Linfield.
That's to do with the participants.
Yeah.
100% employed by them.
Yeah, I mean, that, I'll have to get an answer for you for that, Tom.
'Cause I'd like to think our fields are more intended for, first, the people, the residents here, and the children, the people that live here. And someone who is working here should fall under a totally different category.
Is this the way you read in the original MOU, Joe?
It is exactly like that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't believe that's reasonable for the people of Linfield. So, that I had a question about.
That should be further down categories, what you're saying.
Right, they shouldn't be
Secondary to
treated, they
Linfield.
shouldn't be defined as a Linfield resident.
Would you defer back to, on the next page, organization categories and priorities?
Okay.
That's a category B. Or C, depending on how many residents. It's not an A.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
Well, A is 100% Linfield residents. They're by definition a Linfield resident, so they're an A. It's under the
Right,
nonprofit.
yeah, right, the first, right, non-profit,
So,
profit, youth and
just to
non-profit.
sort of eliminate that, but it is a little clearer under C where it says less than 100% Linfield residents. But we're defining a business in Linfield as a Linfield resident. So maybe we could just make that a little clearer so that they're not maybe an A or B.
By all means.
Let's see. And then we were talking before about casual users. And I know that, if the kids are out there playing, let them play if there's time, what have you. I think it would be a detriment if we stopped our kids from going out, having a pickup game and, like you saw.
We have no, I encourage it. I mean, there was no, I think the casual user is more a birthday party. If there's trash pickup to be done, it's almost like, hey, we want to know you're there, so when you're done, we can pick up your trash, make sure you have left things. Who can we hold accountable if there's damage?
So how do we do that with the kids that are just, when I was young, we'd call each other up, knock on doors, go meet at the field and play until we couldn't breathe anymore and go home.
Right.
So what happens today when someone wants to do that?
That's not an organized activity.
Mm-hmm.
That's just guys playing.
Right.
It happens every night. every night down there.
So we wouldn't be asking them to
No.
leave the field,
Not
right?
at all.
Okay.
Not-
Only if there's an organized game going
Only
on.
if
there
If
or
there's something
practice.
scheduled.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
Someone-
I've been down there.
Yeah.
This, you wouldn't believe the group of kids that play Frisbee there every night. It's
Must be a great place to play Frisbee.
and I've said to them, guys, I'm shutting the lights off. You want them on for another 15 minutes? Yeah. I mean, I'm encouraging that as much as I can.
We were down there under construction. They hadn't even gotten the second and third fields done, and there was kids playing lacrosse on the stadium field
Yeah.
before everything else got done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's more of just if someone was organized a tournament
Right,
last minute
yeah.
on
Yeah.
on a Saturday.
Under clinics and
Gary.
camps, under clinics and camps, you had 25% of the fees may be deposited. Let me find what that is. It's one of your 1, 2, 3, the fourth circled item. 25% of the fees may be deposited in a recreation revolving account for field maintenance and administration.
What page you on?
Page 16.
Clinics and camps.
Right again, so I think that kind of cleared up the ambiguity in the MOU where it said the majority would be put in the capital. So this has it as 75% of the fees would be into the capital fund and 25 account for field maintenance and administration. I mean, so that would
So
need to be
instead of,
broken
we'd
up.
strike the word may and put in will?
That's up to you guys, certainly.
Okay. Just asking. I didn't know if maybe there was another account that you were starting to create to prepare for some other issue.
It does say
No.
will on the 75%,
Right.
but it says may on the 25%.
Right. I mean, it could just be a typo.
Okay, I mean, maybe they would decide how to split that 25 into maintenance and administrative. Again, that's above me.
Well, it has and, so as long as you're putting 25% in the combination of those two.
Right,
funds,
it's
if
got to
you
be
will.
put, there's 3 accounts it can be put in.
Right.
And it needs to be put there.
Jim, have we set up these accounts yet, or have we talked about how they're going to exactly be set up? I know.
Set up yet, those we need to set up will be on the town meeting warrant for.
Okay. Would the maintenance and administration account be 2 separate accounts, I would think? I would think so.
You already have the administration account. so
Yes,
Yeah.
right, it's in the revolving,
So the
right?
maintenance account would be a separate account we would set up.
capital account will be a separate
Okay.
account.
All righty.
So do you think maybe the group wants to separately allocate that? If we're going to have separate funds?
I think they
Because then
would,
we'll have to update it.
no, I hear you.
Well, we're going to have to update this as we go anyways, but it'd be
it
nice to
is
get, if they want
something.
10 and 15,
Right.
you know, how would you want to split it up?
Or we can leave it like this, subject to the change when the warrant comes, and then we have to revisit it in October or November.
Yeah, I mean, 10 and 15, 20 and 5, I think 20 and 5 would cover it.
So 20%.
20% to the field maintenance, 5 for administration?
I think that would cover it, yes.
Okay. And then one last issue, and that was I received a few emails regarding the that hugely successful flag football event, and a lot of people were a little up in arms over the sheer volume of people. And the one common thread that I heard from everybody was, why were there no police details just to maintain order?
There were police details both
Okay.
days.
The people that emailed me said there were none. So in reading their emails and then reading your guidelines, I didn't read anything in here identifying what the number of people would be whereby a detail would be needed.
Right, and there is a meeting, to Phil's surprise, that will not be taking place tomorrow morning. And that's one thing we do need to hammer out. Where the threshold is to have DPW staff
Mm-hmm.
where the threshold is to have a police detail. Yeah, it became apparent probably 2 hours into that event. North Shore Flag Football, who's been a great partner of ours, he called me in a panic on Wednesday at 3 o'clock saying, I have a tournament scheduled for Fenwick. They double booked it. They have the Bay State games, track games. Can you help me? I said yes. In hindsight, I should have asked a few questions before I said yes. And about 10 o'clock that day, I said, if we ever do anything like this, we need to have a bus system. It was, the town generated $8,000. They made a $2,000 donation to LAA. But logistically, it certainly could have been handled better. And we've been trying to hold this meeting. I know Town Administrator Boudreau and I have exchanged kind of worksheets, to make sure this doesn't happen again. We don't, on our permitting process, we don't have number of participants, number of spectators, and that's something we probably do need to do going forward. Like I said, there's a meeting, hopefully now Thursday morning, to decide where those thresholds are.
Well,
So, I mean, that's a separate issue from this, but
Yeah.
it's very valid, certainly. yeah.
That event brought forward several things we've been talking about for the last 2 years.
Right.
First off, there's not near enough parking at the high school. All right, that was one of the issues that came up when we put this project in place. We still got to look at,
Right,
for large events, we got to look at
Right.
either
but-
busing or additional parking.
Right.
Right.
I mean, the two big ones I would see would be graduation and Thanksgiving Day.
Those are the two big ones, but if you look at what you have going on.
But those are Linfield events, and people say, okay.
Right.
Outside events, they're not going to say okay.
Well, how many kids from Linfield play in that flag football league?
Well, in the league itself that runs Saturday afternoons.
Yeah.
I think in the spring there's about 175, and in the fall there's up to 250. But that was an outside tournament, I think.
So there was no Linfield kids in that one?
Very few. I think there, out of 100+ teams, there were 2 Linfield teams.
2 Linfield teams, okay.
Yeah. So that was almost exclusively out-of-town participants.
And Joe, we said when we put these guidelines together that we're going to, certainly as we've been discussed tonight, we're going to be changing it up a bit. I mean, the day of that event, you were proactive, acknowledging that we had to certainly look at this and correct the guidelines to help with that. So certainly, I mean, the minute I reached out to you that day, you were already on top of it, so I appreciate that. And it's something, as Selectman Terranova said, we're going to, in Crawford, that we're going to continuously change these as certainly, hopefully, we expand the use and the revenue coming in. So I appreciate your activity that day.
Yeah, that was an eventful day. I know you and I spoke a few times. I was down there with you a couple times.
You drove through the parking lot, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I had residents calling. They said, what are all these cars parked everywhere down the high school? And I said, well, there's a flag football tournament going on, and there's a few more cars than we probably expected. But
yeah,
it gives you a good telltale on how you can handle a large event, even though it was a last minute changeover that you had to, you accommodated them. It gives us an idea that we have to start looking at how we can handle those in the future if we're going to entertain them at all.
Right.
So that's what we got to look at.
The NFL's looking to hold their regional tournament here. I believe it's November 14th. So we've got
the NFL with a punt, pass, and kick thing. Or?
No, it's literally an NFL flag football tournament, and the winner of this, it's New England. I think all the way down to Virginia, and the winners of this go play flag football at the Super Bowl.
No kidding.
So,
in what age groups?
All the way up. I think it's 6 to 14 or something.
Oh, doesn't hit 50?
No.
Become a fun thing to play.
And you'll make sure the balls are perfectly inflated?
We will inflate them properly.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. We know you will.
Yeah.
So the woman I'm dealing with, she's out of Indianapolis. I let her know, there may be some cost for parking and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's no other questions, I'd take a motion to approve the rec handbook and guidelines with a couple of changes that we've suggested.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Joe, thanks for going over that with us.
All right, thank you.
You know,
Thank
like I
you.
said,
Hard work.
it'll be evolving, but it's a great start, that's for sure.
And thank the whole committee, because this has been a long time coming. I think,
It
Chris, when we were on LRC, we were talking about
It's about
this.
7, yeah.
So that was only a few crisp years ago.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
this is a lot of work from the LRC, and it's a lot of work that Arthur Bork put in, so, you know, that was all, this whole thing, the MOU was his little baby, so it's, a lot of time has gone into this, that's for sure, so thank you.
Mhm.
Can we ask that somebody look into the fire current correction going on out there? It's pretty in your face, it's right close to where the building. And the police department.
Chief, we have any idea what that is?
Seems to be over on the other side of the common.
Is it?
Oh, it's not out here?
No, started over there.
Well, wherever it is, somebody must, they all look into it, it's pretty damn close to the
Backfire.
Christie's Market?
Backfire.
Late for the 4th of July.
Well, we got a couple of things before we talk to the chief, so he can check it out. Next, we're going to talk about the request to purchase town-owned land on Harvey Park and Monroe Street. Is there someone here to speak to that?
Harvey Park.
Yes.
Pretty straightforward.
Sure, just introduce yourself and...
Yeah, I'm Paul DePietro, one of the trustees of RMD Realty. We own Harvey Park. It's 4 lots at the end of Grove Street.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can pass these over. It's really clear in the picture. That plot number 353 was taken over by the town because a family that lived on Grove Street basically stopped paying taxes on it. It's a useless triangle of land at the entrance of Harvey Park. And so we tried to negotiate with them, but they had like 8 siblings, and it was kind of impossible to work with them. So the town, took over the land, and we just, since '08, we've been just trying to purchase the land so that we can
By 65?
improve the entrance to, to our street there into Harvey Park.
So it's 25 feet by 65 feet?
Yeah,
and
25
but it's a
by
triangle?
65. That's it.
That's it, huh?
Of no use to anyone but us.
And Jim, we asked any other departments if they had any use of that?
It's just gone out, we haven't got anything back yet.
Nothing back yet? Okay.
I was on the phone with the planning board today, and it would seem to me that I think first they should vet this any lots of land that we sell or consider selling, because I think they have a better handle on the properties and what's going on with town, with the various lots that might be available.
Yep.
So my opinion is that first you should be vetted through, at a minimum, the planning board.
It goes to the Planning Board, Conservation Commission, they all get a chance to weigh in and let us know what they think.
Excellent.
If they have a use for it, if there's something unique about it, so they get to comment on it before we get to that point.
Okay.
So that's, it'll be residential?
Yep. I'm not sure exactly the zoning, but I believe it's residential.
Pretty sure it's
right
residential, yeah.
down the street from the church.
So what, this piece would be used possibly to expand the width of the road? Or?
Yeah, just to expand and make a nicer entrance and so
Yeah.
forth. Right now, it's, we can't touch it because we don't own it, so.
Okay. Is this whole piece of property up for sale now, or is it? Or has it been
Well, that's
sold?
the bottom line, is we're looking to either develop it or to develop it in some way.
Develop it in some purpose, either
Yeah.
sell it as a development or develop it yourselves?
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
And that would, that's a key
I
point
know
right
there's been
there.
rumblings about this, and I've had discussions with other groups about that, so.
Yeah, whatever the best use is, but it's really a key point, the entrance of the property.
Well, one of the issues was the width of the entrance. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I was assuming that's what you're looking at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's also a second lot that you're looking for?
Well, no, it's, there's 4 lots that are part of Harvey Park, RMD Realty. It's 351, 84, 85, and 87. This is just a lot that was left over from a homeowner that lived on Grove Street. I think 128 kind of created that little triangle of land, taking it over. And so, that's who owned it and stopped paying taxes on it.
Yeah, they want to do some
Is
beautification.
this regarding Robert Paris's letter?
That's a second request.
This is a different request.
Same piece of land, different request.
All right.
Different piece of land? Different piece of land.
So you're suggesting it's either for widening it or putting some beautification in here?
Yeah, just to make a nice
okay.
entrance to the,
Yeah.
to the street.
Yeah, which would be nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea of what you're looking to do in there?
Well, again, essentially just, rework the homes, renovate them basically.
Single-family homes, or are you looking to do?
Well, I mean, right now, there's two families there and
Yeah.
two single families, depending on if you can create, within the same structure. We'd like to, still have 6 units, but it may become 4 single families.
Well, I know proposals have come through for possibly purchasing that in the past, and they've looked at townhouses and different types of other units in there. But you own it now?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
So our family owns it, yep.
Okay, great.
So you have two families there right now?
Yep.
So you'd have to, whatever you do to that building would have to be within the structure.
Exactly,
'cause
yeah.
It's non-conforming, I would imagine.
Yep, that's...
I think a lot of them are non-conforming, yeah. Great, all right. So we need to hear back from the other departments before we can make a ruling on this?
Then the board had declared surplus, we'd get permission from town meeting to dispose of it, and then it's actually a bid process. We can't direct it to be sold to anybody, but
Okay, so we could have you come back in the first meeting in September? You think that'll be plenty of
Yeah,
time
we
for
should
everybody to
have
respond to this?
yeah.
That would be great.
Okay, so why don't we do that? We'll have you we'll bring you back then, and we'll let you know what the other boards have said, and possibly be able to take care of it at that point, okay?
That would be much appreciated.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Union Hospital update. We've had, it's been an eventful month for Union Hospital and what we've been, I've been meeting with City of Lynn, Save Union Hospital Group. I've met with the Governor's Office. I've met with the State Senate and local state reps, all in separate meetings on this whole issue. And you may have already seen a couple of signs go up. They're kind of a light blue. You're going to see a lot more go up in the near future. They all say Save Union Hospital. That's that's been the goal of the group that's trying to save the hospital. The what I've been trying to work on is under what conditions can we ask the hospital be kept there, and who at the state level has any authority to create that or make it happen. So there was a meeting with the AG's office. The AG's office had said that they don't have a lot of teeth to make that happen if Partners Healthcare has demonstrated that not only are they losing millions of dollars, but they can provide needed health care at the Salem Hospital, which I can't believe that can be done, but that's what the answer was. We spoke with Lynn City Council, had a meeting just last week. I spoke at that meeting. I don't know if everybody's familiar with Lynn City Council. They don't all necessarily agree on everything. They all agreed on this. They all agreed on this one. There was probably 20 people that spoke. Every city councilor was strongly in opposition of it closing, and certainly, and the article in front of them was to sign a petition to have the AG start an investigation against Partners Healthcare. There's been some allegations that they haven't handled this properly, and that they'd like the AG's office to check into that. In the meantime, I met with the Department of Health and asked the general counsel up there, a woman by the name of Margaret Cook, and the chief of staff is a Jay Humans, and we sat down with Senator McGee again, the Representative Wong, Mayor Kennedy from Lynn, several councilors, and we talked about what can possibly be done and they said, and the unusual thing was it wasn't really on their radar. They really weren't looking at it yet, and I thought that was unusual. And this is the general counsel. And so they were just starting to look into it as of last week. I've asked them to look into whether or not the services they're providing today meets their license requirement, because I've been told by people that work at Union that they've pulled a lot of the services out of there already. They talked about a 3-year time frame. I can't believe that based on what they've already pulled out, that 3-year time frame is going to be realistic. It might be more like 1 year. So I explained to all these parties that this is the primary hospital for this town of Lynnfield, town of Saugus, West Lynn, South Peabody, Nahant, Wakefield. You know, it serves at least 200 to 300,000 residents. So today I met with the Lieutenant Governor's office and went over that with them. Again, they really were not familiar with it. It's something they haven't looked at yet. They are now. They're going to start investigating it. The Department of Health had indicated that there's a 90-day letter that they have to get from Partners Healthcare. That 90-day letter would be informing the Department of Public Health that they were closing the hospital. It seems like an awfully short time to tell somebody you're closing the hospital, but that's the regulation. After that happens, the Department of Health has a public hearing. The public hearing is where everybody from Lynnfield, West Lynn, Saugus, South Peabody, everybody's got to get over there and express their reasons for keeping that open. The Lynn City Council meeting the other night, we had a couple hundred people there, and it was a nice showing. It was about 120 degrees in the room, so I was happy to see that many people show up on such a hot night, you know, and everybody had the exact same thing to say. This has been their hospital their whole life. It's detrimental to the community, and we'd like to keep it open. So whether or not that happens, it remains to be seen, but the more public input that we can generate, the better it'll be to try to keep something there. If not a full-service hospital, which we would hope to keep going, at least some acute care and emergency services in that area. It's at least a 25-minute time difference going over to Salem than going to Lynn Union. And in bad weather, like this past winter, it could be a lot longer than that. And if that happens, if it does happen, the backup alone at Salem is going to be terrible. You know, and they aren't going to have the facilities there to handle any volume. If you're shutting down a hospital with 200 beds and you're adding 100 beds to your hospital, you're already creating an overflow. So that's where we are on that. We have we're going to have updates as we go along. The investigation is going to start soon in the AG's office. I should be hearing back from the Department of Health soon on what their findings are to this point. And you'll probably see a lot more visual signs go up and articles and information about this coming out, because we know it's going to happen fairly soon. And we don't want to just start informing everybody when that 90-day notice comes out. I mean, you really have to let everybody know now. And I would urge people that if they've had any experiences at Lynn Union over the last few months where they've been redirected to Salem, or something wasn't open there, or if they've had anything that was different than it has in the past, to let the Department of Health know that, because the more information they have, the better, because they're starting with zero and they're just getting informed now. So we've had instances from other cities and towns. I don't think it's happened in Lynnfield yet, where they've been redirected over to Salem already on an emergency call, and that's not what their license says they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be providing the emergency services there. All right, so that's where we are on Union Hospital. Pat?
One of my concerns is that the feasibility study that had to be done when they did this is probably terribly outdated, particularly as far as Lynnfield is concerned, because we now have Lynnfield Commons, we have Arbor Point, we have Colonial up there. There are many dwellings that have happened, I believe, since that feasibility study was done. So I wanted to call that to your attention, so you can call it to the attention of others. How do we hear about the public hearing? You say it's only a 90-day notice. I'm very concerned that I've been trying to find the people that aren't public officials that are involved with this, and I haven't been able to find who they are. That Katerina that came here, I sent a petition to her.
Yeah,
the petition came back to me. They have a website, so people need to know that.
That's their website.
SaveUnionHospital.com.
Correct.
Good.
Yeah, and that Katerina Pangiotakis she's been the front runner on this, but there's probably 30 or 40 people working on that are non politicians or non-elected officials.
Right.
And but there's I know Representative Wong from Saugus has been very active on it.
He's from day one.
From
Yes.
day one, and
Judy Kennedy.
The Lynn City Council and the mayor have gotten very active with it. So
Right.
So I think between the papers and the social media, if anything new comes out now, it'll get spread very quickly. I've seen signs went up yesterday that I got was all over the Facebook and everything today when things started going up. So there's a lot more people paying attention to it.
I think, and I get to agree, is that this isn't just about elected officials. I think it's the more we get this out, this isn't just a Lynn issue. And I was talking to some people in Everett about the public safety and the emergency response. If they were to lose the Whidden Hospital, and they could not believe that we were possibly Lynn was going to lose Lynn Union Hospital and what that would mean. And they were right, and we have to make sure people. Now we have Market Street, and the response there. So in addition to what you had mentioned, we have just in Linfield alone grown the need for emergency response. I know Phil had mentioned 25 minutes. It's probably on a very good day to Salem. So I think we have to get the word out, let people understand the significant effect this will have on all of us. God forbid we need emergency response. But it's not just a Lynn issue. It's a Linfield, Saugus, Route 1 is expanding.
Right.
And we need the emergency response. We need the ER open. I know the fire chief certainly has been at the forefront of telling us the need and the importance of having that ER. But it's getting that message out to the people and the masses that are really going to be affected by this.
But it's more not just getting the message out.
Yeah.
It's that you have to focus people on what they should do.
Absolutely.
So we really have to get going on that, you know.
Actually,
we need to
there's a lot
focus
of
people's
people-
energy on what they
I think
can
a lot
do.
of people are focused on this now.
Good.
It has come to light. I have clients all in this general area, and
Right.
it's really a regional
That's good.
issue, and everybody is aware of it, and they're watching. And I
Right,
think
good.
more people than you may believe are watching to see
That's
what
good.
steps they need to take. So the people are out there and ready to take action.
Right. People tend to feel that you can't do anything about it, but the action of many, and you can. You know, you have to have the I can attitude,
Yeah, that's the
not the
misconception
defeatist
that-
attitude.
The misconception that nothing can be done, but you can.
Right, and we have state officials, Brad Jones, I've called his office, and Wong, and Senator McGee.
Yep.
There are a lot of people in the political field that are active and concerned about it.
Representative Jones and Representative Wong met with me today at
Right.
the LG's office, so they
Yeah.
are very much involved with it. And
Yes.
they're just concerned there because it's their own families too.
Right,
And all of
exactly.
their constituents.
Right.
The people from North Reading, where Brad lives, they still come over here. You know, they're kind of more centrally located, but this is still probably, for many of them, the closest one to get to. So
Right.
I don't think there's anybody I haven't heard anybody other than a representative from Partners Healthcare that's in favor of this closing. There's no one that wants this to close. And I can't
Oh, they're
imagine
going
why
to
they
have
would.
much better service for all of us.
Yeah,
That's
well,
their
that's-
line.
Yeah.
It's been their line from day one. But the other thing is, I will tell you, I happened to be at an event where there was somebody from the board of Leahy Clinic. Don't even know the name, but I went right up there and said, you know, maybe you'd like to buy a hospital in Lynn. And he couldn't say anything. Which made me think that maybe there's some things going on negotiating. I mean, there's Hallmark Health, there's Leahy Clinic. So maybe there's a possibility there as well. Maybe there's some negotiating going on in the background with
Yeah,
that.
that has been suggested at a couple of the meetings. That
Yeah.
he might be interested in that building, because the building was originally going to be earmarked for a mental health center.
Right.
And that has now changed.
Right, it's going to Shaughnessy.
Up in Salem. So we aren't sure what is going to happen with that building at this point. And
Right.
another woman in town, Mary Stewart, has been very active on this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been trying to notify as many people as possible and working on that. And she, if you want somebody that's involved with it, but not a elected official or something, Mary's been very involved. So
Okay.
there's a lot of people that are very passionate about it. It's one of those things you don't know what you can do. Even the state level, you get a little bit of that sense. Well, we aren't
Right.
sure what we can really do. It's a
Right.
private corporation, but they have to be able to prove to the Department of Health that they can provide these services with that closed. And I
Right.
can't imagine how they can provide those services. I'm not going to drive to Salem.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
And if you have something wrong right away, you're going to run over to Leahy.
Yeah.
And that's not a full service hospital.
Right.
And then then where are you going to go?
Mass General North isn't a full-service hospital either.
They aren't full service hospitals. I mean, you're going from a place with 200 beds to a place with 10 beds.
Right.
They don't have the facilities to handle, emergency and trauma care. So.
Well, keep this on your agenda and keep updating us, please, and letting people know what they can do, what action is needed. If we need to get a bus to go into Boston to a public hearing, that would be something we could do.
Yeah, well, they had a rally a couple weeks ago. It was about 99 degrees that day, so it was a little tough for some people to get out there. And most of the people in West Lynn that were involved with it, showed up. There's 30 people or so, but a lot of people I know just didn't go because they were melting. But
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more of that going on.
Right.
And we're going to have several more meetings over the next couple of months. So I think the more we can get that out in the paper, the better. Yes, sir. Speaking right to that mic right there.
I do want to thank
Hold on,
you
Pat. Oh, yeah.
for your
He might have a
unanimous support of opposition to this.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. I'm Wayne Perry. I'm a Linfield resident. State administration is my business. I'm a com-bias consultant. I suggest you contact the Health Policy Commission.
Mm-hmm.
They work in a tandem arrangement with the Attorney General's office. They have to approve the closings and the buyouts and the mergers.
Right.
They're the ones who shot down Leahy buying Winchester. They also, the meetings are open to the public. You can go there as an individual or as a group and make your case that your opposition. Those are the people of the state you should be talking to. The Health Commission is nice. I've met the new commissioner. But it's really the Health Policy Commission. Their meetings are once a month, and the committee meetings are more frequent.
Yeah, I know both the governor's office and the AG's office were going to try to get a meeting together with the representatives from that commission.
You can go straight. They have times, at the end of the meetings, where the public can just go up and tell them.
Just go up and talk to them, yeah.
Just go right ahead.
Right, great, thank you, appreciate it. Any other comments? Come up, please. Let us know who you are and say what you need. He loves to talk from over there.
Good evening. My name is Linda Garverow, and talking about, it's still there, Union Hospital, in the Linfield papers, sometimes they only put it in one paper, not both, so people will subscribe. I get both of them, because then I know that I'll get all the information. But it's got to be in both Linfield papers.
Well, both papers are sitting here right now taking notes, so this will be in both papers, I guarantee.
It's a good idea.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Boudreau, how many emails do we have in the database for the updates that we send out periodically?
I don't know how many subscribers we have to the town website. That's something I'll have to check with the new IT director.
I know this is the type of issue we could kind of push in that, using that as an update, or to get information out of it, save
In the past, the board has to approve anything that goes out.
Yeah.
Can't see you over there. Yeah, you hiding behind. Mary, come on up.
Yeah. I'm Mary Stewart,
Mary.
Thomas Road, and I've been very involved with this, and I thank the Board of Selectmen tremendously for being behind this. And I just wanted to say, if you want me to be the point person, I'd be happy to give my email. Anybody that wants to be involved, and I mean, you may be involved holding signs or writing letters. Anybody that wants to be involved, I'd be happy to give my email
Great.
right now if you want me to.
Well, why don't you?
Or do you- Yeah, it's Mary Stewart, 44@verizon.net. So if you just shoot me an email, I'll get you on a chain and a list, and the more people, the better.
Thank you,
I
Mary.
do think we can make a difference.
I agree, Mary, thank you.
I mean, we also, Mary, thank you for your leadership on this. We also have, the schools certainly have a wide
Schools
net.
have a much bigger one than we have.
So I don't know if this is, I mean, this affects young and old alike in Linfield, and
You
certainly,
can talk to the superintendent.
so
if we
that
have
that might be
something to
another
sell. Yep.
way of getting the message out.
Plus, there's no other side on this. It's not like there's two sides.
No.
There's one side, you know?
Is this something we could put on the face of our website when there's an upcoming meeting or an upcoming event?
Yeah, we can do that, can't we?
Well, we have it, we have the ability there.
Yeah. I'd have to look in, you know, we don't do the programming for the site, it's a template.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably can find a way to do it. Again, I can work with virtual town hall on that, see if we can put something up.
Because we have the new website, we have a website there, we can put current news on there, so hopefully we could
scroll.
just keep adding that on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it a little limited on how easy it is to get it on and off, or? Yeah, yeah.
But I think
We'd have to work with them on the programming end of it.
the immediate response would, I think, would be the email from the schools. I mean, that always gets a response. People look, and an issue like this, something to come across, that might be something to pursue with the superintendent.
Yeah, I can talk to Jane.
I mean, because that would have an effect, God forbid, there's an issue at one of the schools and an emergency response, so that's certainly an issue there.
Any other comments, questions on Lynn Union? Okay. The next item, we have a member of the Life Board that's going to retire this year from the board, Fred Santangelo. Been a longtime resident of Linfield, longtime member of the Life Board, great contributor, very involved in the current project up at Colonial Village, and I don't know how many people here know him, but he's just a wonderful person, and I really appreciate everything he's done. He's going to, his appointment comes up in September, and we're announcing that tonight because we're going to be looking for a replacement. So we're asking those who might be interested to set a letter of interest to Town Hall, and that you'll be on there. And I know there's a gentleman here tonight that's already put that in. He knew that was coming. And that's a very, I appreciate it, thank you. And I tell you, the life projects have been extremely successful. The Colonial Village and the other villages, I know we spoke about it a month or two ago and talked about filling them up and being able to sell the units and the age brackets, and we actually dropped the age down to 58. It has worked. They've sold everything all but one. At Colonial, and I know there was 2 units at Center Village. They were first floor 2-bedroom units, and those are going to go. That was all that was left. And I think it's they were going to ask us to make more changes. They've pulled that back. They don't need them now. They said it's gone very well. So I think we should be very happy we had somebody like Fred on the board to get all that done. And he's certainly paid his dues to this town, that's for sure, and I want to thank him. So next meeting, or maybe the second meeting in September, I'll give it to Len. We'll talk about another appointment to that board. And so anybody that wants to apply for that, please send that into Town Hall.
I'd just like to say, Fred Santangelo, thank you for his service, certainly to that board and to Linfield. He's one of the best in Linfield who's volunteered his time. We're very fortunate to have him. It's unfortunate he's going to be leaving this leadership position, but it's people like him that have made Linfield what it is today, and he has continued to serve, and he's earned his opportunity to kind of step back and enjoy the benefit of his hard work. So thank you, Fred, for your hard work.
I'd like to also thank Fred for all of his work. I know he's on other committees as well, and so he's still giving. Maybe he's just toning down a bit, trying to enjoy life a bit. So, but I also received a phone call today, from another prior selectman that will be applying for that life position. So it looks like this will be this position will pique a lot of interest.
Great.
That's good.
Thank you. Next item we have is the Kinder Morgan pipeline, and I don't know how many people are aware of the Kinder Morgan pipeline, but it was brought to my attention about 14 months ago. There were residents down in the Glen Road, North Hill Drive, Willis Road area that were being, they had a site contractor down there going door to door, knocking on your door, introducing himself. His name was John Gavin. He's from NLS Group, and he does the preliminary work for Tennessee Gas. Tennessee Gas is owned by Kinder Morgan. So what they were looking to do is talking about a new pipeline they're putting in. There's a reserve of gas called the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania in upstate New York. And there's enough natural gas here for the next 100 years. And they're trying to figure out how to get it over here. Because we already have natural gas here in New England. We just don't have enough. And this is what they're talking about doing is piping this, putting a new pipe coming across New York, upstate New York, across Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire, and it ends. The main line's going to end in Drake-it, and then from Drake-it, there's going to be a line coming this way called the Linfield Lateral, and that's going to be our end of it. And the Linfield Lateral is I actually have got a picture of it. The Linfield Lateral is it's going to go through Camp Curtis Guild. I don't know if anybody can see it here. Got a nice color picture, and it goes through Camp Curtis Guild, and most of the land will be it'll be all Camp Curtis Guild land up to Chestnut Street. Then it'll go through an electrical easement through the North Hill development up there. There's an 80-foot north electrical easement that's currently owned by the town of Danvers. It's not being used, and that's where the I don't know where it is. Yeah. so they're going to use the easement to get through that neighborhood. Then it goes on to the Linfield Water District land, and they're going to put the tunnel, the pipe across the back of the Water District land, well behind Sagamore Golf Course. It'll end up down in Bostic property down in Peabody, and then it'll go into Peabody from there. So this is the main pipe's a 36-inch pipe coming in from Pennsylvania and Mass, the main pipe. The laterals are so much smaller pipes. They're a 20 to 24-inch pipe. That's what they're talking about for the lateral. And that's going to supply our area with enough natural gas to meet the demand. Now, what Kinder Morgan is saying is that in Boston area, we're paying 3 times the price for natural gas. And the reason is because they can't supply enough to this area. That's what their argument is. There's currently a couple of organizations that have come up, No Frack Gas and these other organizations against it, because they're coming across a lot of farmland and and conservation land, not just around here, but all the way across the state and upstate New York. So there's opposition to it. But when this was first brought to us last year, they wanted to go right behind Glen Drive and up across some of our conservation land, then up onto the golf course. I spoke to Mr. Gavin and a few of the executives over there at the time. I brought to their attention that they could get to the same location by using this easement. They looked into it. They talked to the town of Danvers, and they've made an arrangement to put that in. So that was a new route they put in, and this is all going to be regulated and permitted through the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So this is all going to come through them. According to Kinder Morgan, they're going to be putting in for these permits at the end of this year. All right, so that's their timeline. Once they get permitted, they're looking to have this in place and built by November of 2018. Okay, so that's what's being proposed right now. It has minimal impact on Linfield itself, especially compared to other towns, but it's still going to be a 20 to 24-inch gas line going not going through the North Hill neighborhood in an easement that's already there, and then across our water district land. So they did appease a lot of the neighborhood by doing this. The fact is, there's still a lot of organizations out there. I think Selectman Terranova was at a meeting recently with one of the organizations that opposes this. And we got to look strongly on whether we really want this gas line. There's 50 or 60 towns along the way that are all looking at the same thing, because they've gone up in southern New Hampshire and back down into Mass, and it's a crazy route they're taking. But if you look at it, they're coming across most of upstate New York, several towns up there. So it's an important piece of energy that we probably need in New England, but a lot of towns might admit that we need gas in this area, but how we get it here and whether or not this is the right way to do it, I don't know. But that's what it is, and I think Selectman Terranova has a little more information on that. So go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Phil. I'm glad that we got this on the agenda. I think it's really important after attending this informational meeting that there are some misnomers out there that I guess Kinder Morgan is giving everybody the idea that there is not enough of gas in the Northeast, when in fact there is. And there's only maybe a few isolated instances when there is inadequate gas. So this is more than just about giving us gas. This is about getting a pipeline to the shoreline. And if it's going to go to the shore, it's going to make its way to a tanker, and God knows where it's going to go from there. So there's a lot more in play than what Kinder Morgan is, in a broad stroke, telling us about. And this pipeline is much larger than any pipeline we have in the town of Linfield at this point. These pipes do have leaks every once in a while. There are issues. As a matter of fact, the hearing that I was at with Northeast Municipal Gas Pipeline Coalition, one of the speakers served our Conservation Commission with information regarding the detriment that this pipeline will cause going through our wetlands. So as much as we may not be causing a lot of trouble for a lot of people with their homes, this pipeline is double anything that we have in town, and the pressure that it has is double, which means if there's an issue, I would have to assume that it's going to be double the trouble. So I don't know, exactly where these pipelines are going. The number of towns that are against this surround us. Peabody's against it, Danvers is against it, North Reading is against it. Most of the people going where the pipeline wants to go, they are against Kinder Morgan. And I had a handout that I left for everybody, and Bob was nice enough to hand out to people. And in there, it's just, just a few quick things. One was the pipeline route issued to Mass Plan on December 18th of 2014. And if you want, I included the page where you can go to the map site and you could see it in color so that it would be a little more vivid for you. I also include some maps of the topography where the pipeline was going. Now, as far as this topography, I'm not exactly sure what they're saying there, but it sure looks like wetlands to me. And if there's wetlands, then there could be problems with whatever we have living in the wetlands. And then something that I was very surprised to find out about was that Linfield is getting its own meter station. And that's going to be behind 7-Year Road and in between 7-Year Road and Kimberly Terrace. Now what I'm told the meter station does is that's a place where they reduce the pipeline. So it may come in at, say, 36 inches and it gets reduced down to 24. So at that station, we're going to hear hissing all the time. Then there are times where they have to off gas to keep the pipelines dry. Now, there's two ways in which they can do that. One, they can release it into the atmosphere. Well, actually, there's three ways. Second, they can burn it. The third is they can recapture it into a gas truck. Who knows which of those three options Kinder Morgan would select. But we have some very serious issues coming to town. And it really makes me very, very concerned, especially if I was within 100, 200 feet of this pipeline. I'd have some major reservations. In addition to that, the wonderful lady who worked with our Concom, she also informed us of where we have our wells back there. This pipeline could cause other issues for us. If there should be a leak that goes unfound, then that's going to affect our drinking water. So there's a lot of really important issues that we have to think about. And it has me very, very concerned, and it has the towns all around us so concerned that they've been joining organizations like this Northeast Municipal Gas Pipeline Coalition. I'd like to see our town join this and be one of the many towns that are going to say no to Kinder Morgan, that we know that this gas pipeline is for a for-profit company that just wants to make more money. And I'm not saying that we can't use the extra gas. I'm saying that what is their true intent? The Northeast is already overbuilt. How much more building, how much more expansion can we possibly undergo? And if the pipeline is heading to Beverly, it's heading to a water. So you don't need to be extremely bright to know this is not staying in the Northeast. This has an ulterior motive. So I hope that you would all consider supporting me in having the town join the Northeast Municipal Gas Pipeline Coalition.
Jim, can I, Selectman Turnover, I know you were at that
Yes, sir.
meeting, maybe you can answer also. What is, I understand the cost of gas, it certainly could have a positive effect in that way, but what's the direct effect on Linfield other than, is it a regional or a state?
Actually, they're expecting gas prices to increase. This isn't going to decrease the gas.
Direct to Linfield other than the fact they just need to cut through Linfield?
They're
'Cause,
just
I mean, I
coming
understand the
through.
wetlands, but I see about several neighborhoods it's going to.
There are several houses. In this map that I had here,
Yeah.
if you go to this web page that I have highlighted here, and you can see the houses that it's going to cross.
So it increases the supply for the region or the state or however
The
the
region.
area.
Well,
so
there's
there's no
no-
direct positive effect to Linfield other than the fact that regionally it'll increase gas to the area.
Yeah.
Well, they're selling it as a way of reducing the gas prices here.
But that's
what their sales pitch
so it's
is.
more on a
You know,
state.
so that's whether or not, whether that's a reality, who knows?
Yeah.
But that's, of course, most of the people that are against it, are, we don't know where that's coming from either. We don't know what, if is it going to increase gas prices? I don't know why it would, but there's the no frack gas, I get their emails daily.
Yeah, no, I saw them up in the
and there's a
Hampshire
lot
and
of the
those,
same information there, and you don't know. You don't know. I looked at as much information as I could get. If you go into Kinder Morgan online, you can find all this information from both sides, and there's a lot about it. And the Linfield end of it, even though we have probably the least amount of intrusion on the town than a lot of these other towns, you look at North Reading, it goes right across the middle of North Reading. Peabody, it goes through some very thickly settled areas. You know these other towns don't like it, and they don't want it. And whether or not we can do anything about it, this is one of those utilities that they get around some of the regulations that most of us have. And I know I talked to them about going across the Linfield Water District land. I said I'm very familiar with that land because we studied it for a year to put playing fields back there. That's all wetlands. It was 90% wetlands. And I mentioned that to the representative from the Tennessee Gas Company. He says, oh yeah, we deal with wetlands all the time. We take care of it. So, but they have to. They must go across wetlands every day. So, and they put in, what did I say, they got 80,000 miles of gas pipeline somewhere. So,
Is there a benefit to the town of Linfield? I mean, what's the?
I don't see what the big benefit to the town would be. Is it really benefit us? I mean, we use natural gas here. Would it lower the price of natural gas? Probably. Makes sense it would.
In a very indirect way.
But is the intention to get it to the ocean and send it over to Europe? You know, that's really, you know, that's what some people might want you to believe. Is that true or not? I don't know. But if this shale has enough gas for the next 100 years, it kind of makes sense, you know? Katie?
Yeah, Katie Shea, what I wanted to say was I've been getting pushed on this issue because one of my friends, it's going like right next to their parents' property. And also one of the attorneys in Linfield, an attorney in Linfield, was doing a purchase and sale on a house. And the pipeline is routed to go near the house, and the sale fell through. It actually affected the selling price of the house.
I think the house actually the house was built on top of the easement.
I don't know if it was that house. I just got the phone call from the attorney.
Built right on top of
Right. The other thing is, I went to a few of these meetings, and what they are saying is that it is going to export. It's coming out of Beverly to be exported. So that's something that we can all take a look at the route. But I think more importantly, Selectman Terranova has set up a meeting Thursday, August 20th at the Merit Center at Market Street. And some of the people that are very familiar with the pipeline are going to come in, and people potentially that are going to be affected by the pipeline probably should show up, you know, to find out what's going on in their houses. One of the things that concerns me is that the water supply. That's something that it's going to affect all of us. There's also a blast zone around these pipes. So if something does happen, you know, you're going to be affected because in California, houses have been incinerated. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. So, Selectman Terranova, thank you for doing this. It's one of those things I started to get involved in during my campaign. I was getting phone calls, and it's something that I think everyone in Linfield is being good neighbors. We should really think about this because it could potentially affect all of us. Thank you.
I think Selectman Terranova, the organization that you had said that we should, I'd be interested in. Certainly, I'd want to learn more of what their agenda is, and I don't know if we could possibly get some more information on them. I don't know if they could present to us. I think it's something, because we heard about this in the spring. A lot of these neighborhoods, I'd like to certainly look into that with you and with Selectman Crawford.
Well, many of them are going to be at my August 20th meeting.
What's it, this Thursday?
This Thursday at 7.
But I think it'd be helpful even just for the community if they could come
Sure,
before us.
absolutely.
Well,
Definitely.
we were going to schedule something on this in the fall,
Yeah.
given the
Well-
dearth of residents in town in the summertime. We were going to wait till people came back to school.
The problem is they're going to the legislature now. They're going to different committees. As a matter of fact, we already missed one cutoff date where we can no longer speak on behalf of Linfield, cannot speak at certain hearings.
Well, this goes through the federal government.
Well, there's a state, and then the federal government's going to, as it's explained to me, the state gives them pushback, then they go to the federal government to push the state back.
The ultimate decision maker, as I understand, is the federal government.
Okay.
If there's a, and this is my understanding, and again, we were going to have men, I haven't had a whole lot of meetings on
lines,
this.
it would have to.
But if the
Yeah.
federal government makes a determination that there is a need for the pipeline,
It's going.
then there's a pipeline coming. Where the pipeline goes is a matter of negotiation, but if the federal government determines through their process that there is a need for gas, then
Well, I have to say one more thing, and I am going to continue to fight for my friend, the person that's going to be affected by this in the neighborhoods that right now it's rooted. I think it's wonderful that Glen Drive that this got rerouted from that road. I didn't know that, and the discussion started 14 months ago. But I think as good neighbors and people that are residents in Linfield, we should attend this meeting on August 20th because it's something that we all should be concerned about. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Gavro again. Talking about these gas pipelines. I have one going through my yard, and it's been there 50 years. And the people that abut my property live on Main Street, all right? And I live on Merrill Road, so, and it goes all the way up his driveway and up across Main Street, up the hill, and I think that goes like through Lowell, somewhere on Lowell Street. but I don't really know, because it goes, in different directions. And I never have had a problem. But I'll tell you what they do know, because it's like at least once a week, there's a helicopter that goes all around, and where that pipeline is from my backyard, from where it starts, wherever it ends up. Yeah, at least twice a week.
What goes around?
A helicopter.
A helicopter.
They
they
must
check
have
it?
something in there that tells them there's something wrong. I don't know.
Or maybe
I have
just-
no
they just
idea.
inspect it.
And as for Kinder Morgan, they sent a pamphlet out. I imagine that most of the people in Linfield got that. I did. And it had a man's name on it, a person's name, on his office where it was, and his phone number. And do you think I tried to get in touch with them? No way. No way.
You couldn't reach
They
him?
never even returned the call.
Well,
Because I have an answering system where I would have seen it on my phone.
The gentleman that went door to door in the North Hill area
Yeah.
was very reachable then, and he's very reachable now. I mean, you can
Oh.
you can call him today, and he'll answer the phone. He's very, he's the engineering side of it, and he's just looking to see how it's going to go through and what's the best route for them. And that had, obviously, once he gets pushback, they either look for another route or not. That's what made him push it over to the easement. That's not where they wanted to go, but it ended up being, the path of least resistance, and they have the right to put it there. And so, and that's owned by the town of Danvers.
Ah.
And I don't know how the town, I don't know what transpired over the years, that they own the easement in Linfield for the electrical easement, but that's how it worked out. So, I'm like, most people will be concerned about this going across the Linfield Water District.
Well, yes,
And
I
that's
realize.
and that's a Linfield Water District concern, so I think
Yeah.
people should be talking to them about what kind of arrangement they've made to have this pipeline go across there. And they certainly have been doing this long enough, they know that this might affect their water supply, and I'm sure.
When I get my next water bill, I'll ask them. I know
Well,
them. Yeah.
if they're going
No,
across
hey.
Linfield Water District land,
I pay
you
taxes,
can be
you pay
guaranteed the Linfield Water District has some sort of a lease agreement with them, so.
I think, my recommendation is, I know you get the meeting this week, I know it's also in the middle of the summer, and I think, as you were saying, certainly the attention to this, I think September 9th is our next meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, could we get someone to come before us? That might be the perfect moment.
I was looking for the meeting after that.
Yeah. I think it'd be important to get on there in the next, and then we could get more information.
I want to wait for people to come back to school. That's the first, the second week of school.
Yeah.
Parents are still bouncing around, hopping around. So once we kind of get settled back in the routine, we try to bring someone in. So we're going to contact Kinder Morgan to bring someone in. We can try to
We'll contact this organization.
have Tom give me that information. We'll try to
I
set
could,
it up.
I could ask that Mr. Gavin, he knows every street in this town that's being affected better than most of us, so.
Yeah.
So I could ask him if he'd join us.
I have, because I was little when I moved to Linfield. I was 13, and it probably went in about maybe 6 or 7 years after my father and mother and I moved there. But we've never had a problem. And I don't know anybody in Linfield that has ever had a problem.
No, there's gas all over Linfield. We actually, when they repaved,
Oh, yes.
they repaved Durham Drive, we asked the gas company to put the gas line in before the repaving got done, so they
Okay.
aren't digging it up after it got all repaved. So that's what happened. That's why that got delayed for several months.
Aha.
The
Well, what
problem with the-
happened was I used to walk with my friend that lived up the street, and her dog would go want to go on the other side of the road because he could smell
Yeah.
from the drains in the street. So a couple of years ago, well, before they had gas lines in Main Street. But they were made out of that, it's like a clay substance, and they're red, or dark red rather. So they dug all that up, and now they're using PCV.
Yeah, I think also Linfield's a whole lot more developed now with the residential areas. That pipeline's where the pipelines went in a couple decades ago, there was probably no developments there now.
Oh, gosh, it must have been put in, the one that's in my
Yeah.
backyard? Probably 50 years ago.
Yeah, now that's really going to go through and strongly in a negative way affect a lot of
But I
residential
do know
property.
that the helicopters come over. I
But
can
don't forget, they're talking about a high-pressure gas line, this big,
Yeah.
high pressure.
Well, it's 1,450 pounds
That's
of
not like
pressure.
you're gonna
A
tap
lot of
into
pressure.
it and use that to heat your house.
But I've never been afraid.
Yeah,
I
house won't
haven't.
be there.
Jim, when's the second meeting in September? October
Oh, the
1st.
one that's the new
So
one?
what-
I might need to,
Well, I
and I
don't
sent an
remember.
email to Jim, maybe move that up. But we can discuss that next meeting.
Yeah, because we moved that because Tom was.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so why don't we look at that, maybe that first meeting in October?
Yeah, that's.
To discuss it, because I think it's, it's obviously was on everybody's radar, but we gotta see what we've got to,
Yeah, again,
when we
had
can
2
get
meetings in
everybody here at the same
summertime
time.
and no one pays attention in the summertime.
Mhm.
First meeting in September, people are just back in school, there's curriculum nights, there's parent teaching, and
Mhm.
so we wanted to wait until everybody's back, settle down, and then.
Yeah, you gotta get the difference between fact and fiction in a lot of this stuff too, and what's
Mhm.
really happening.
Yeah.
That's why it's important, because I read a lot of the opposition group emails that I get, just don't make sense. But it makes you question it. That's what it really makes you do. So, I think that first meeting in October will be great. Pat?
There's some other people.
First of all, there was a gas explosion in Linfield, and it was off of Summer Street, and I can't remember, I know the people that were across the street from it.
How long ago was that, do you know?
I don't know, her kids were little, so it's probably maybe 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. I'll find out more detail on that. Another concern is that evidently Kinder Morgan plans to take some property by eminent domain, which leads me to, can we notify the abutters on the my old favorite thing, notify the abutters, so that they're aware of this. And also, we have a lovely article by Jeff Schmays, dated April 30th, 2015. Opponents rally against gas pipeline. Great job, Jeff, and I have that. The very last paragraph in his article says that Mayor Betancourt of Peabody has directed a representative of the city's fire, public services, community development, park and recreation, and legal departments to participate in the CONCOM work, because the CONCOM has to deal with all of this. So there's a wonderful approach for a committee to help deal with this. And I would also urge you to take the action that Mr. Terranova has recommended, to join the coalition and get some formal representation.
Yeah, our Concom has been dealing with Kinder Morgan for almost 2 years now on this
Yes,
whole
they
issue.
have.
Yeah, they're very familiar with it, and it doesn't, you can't have any final word on it until you know exactly where they want to put it. That's why it's, they've been figuring where the pipelines are going to go. I believe right now this is the final route that they're going to propose, and this is going to be what they're going to go to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission with. But I mean, obviously, it's just a small piece of a very big pipeline. But we have to make sure this is the final draft, which I believe it is. The gentleman today, he didn't. I did ask him about taking property by eminent domain, and he didn't indicate there was any property that with this route that they need to take.
Well, I did get that from the article.
Yeah.
Very nice article. that
Yeah,
Jeff-
because if that's
Jeff
changed since then, it probably would change what they have to do,
wrote. And I guess it keeps changing.
Right.
The
Right.
route
So,
keeps changing.
well, that's why I said I think this is the final one,
Uh-huh.
and they've used the easement to get through there. Now, if it's an 80-foot easement, and to build it, they got to use 120 feet of land. Then, of course, they're going to disturb land that owned by that's used by some of the property owners. But they obviously have to repair that afterwards. Okay, Katie.
Yeah, just when you were talking about, excuse me, Pat, when you were talking about Mayor Betancourt having all those different people involved with Kinder Morgan, has our legal counsel looked at the original pipeline? I mean, have they been involved to help get it moved to the configuration it's in now?
We haven't gotten anything to look at this point. We just have a route that they're proposing. There hasn't been any filings with us. There hasn't been anything for me to give to council to say.
Right.
There was several months in between the original discussions
Uh-huh.
and what's going on now.
Okay.
There was kind of a period in the middle that nothing really happened. And a lot of the neighbors over there didn't discuss it with us any longer or bring it to our attention, only because it got moved. And
Right.
they said, okay, we'll put it in the easement, and that discussion stopped. So
Right.
I think there's a lot of towns along the Mass-New Hampshire border that they had to work out long
Mhm.
before they came back to our route.
Right.
So there's been a lot going on in the meantime, and I know the governor's office has been brought into play on this, and they're waiting for him to weigh in on it. He hasn't come out strongly for it or against it at this point yet either.
Right.
So we'll wait to see what he has to say.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Heather?
Heather Keene, Canterbury Road. Concerning the water, the environment, so I'm just learning about some of this stuff, but curious to know where you guys stand on this, what your feelings are, just for the record. And also, if somebody is watching TV and wants to know, does it affect me? Where is this pipeline going? Where does someone go to in Linfield that's watching TV right now to say, does it affect me? So
Well,
curious to know where you guys stand and where someone can go to find out if it affects them. And I know, Tom, you mentioned the 20th of August at the Market Street
Right.
Meeting Room.
Right.
Okay.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. So curious to know where you guys stand.
Yeah, you
for
can
the
find these sites, the Kinder Morgan site, you can find the pipeline. It's called the Northeast Energy Direct Project is the name of this project, and that piece of it. So if you go onto their website, go to the Northeast Energy Direct Project, you'll find all this information.
Maps?
You can find the maps, they're all there. Usually, and you can locate it all in there. You keep working your way in, you'll find every map. And even on the maps themselves, you can blow them up. These maps are very helpful. This most recent map here, I had John Galvin sent me that, the gentleman that was working on it. So it didn't come from a website. He sent it to me directly. I can put that on our town website if you want it, because it's a nice view of what's going on, so everybody can see it. As far as we've already said, we're very concerned about what's going on with this pipeline going across our water supply.
Would you be against it
Huh?
or for it?
Well, of course we'd be against anything that's going to affect our water supply. I mean, that's obvious.
But everything in general
Yeah.
doesn't sound good.
Well, it's anything's going to affect the town in negative impact. I mean, you don't want that.
You can also go to.
You know, it's property values and all, I mean, and I'm surprised that the residents in that area really haven't, maybe it's because it's the time of year, because it's now come back to light. But I'm gonna discuss this with the water commissioner tomorrow and see where we're at as far as how far away from that, our wells is this going? How, you know, what part of that wetlands is it gonna cross over, and how do they permit that when we know that's all wetlands, right? We know we couldn't do anything with that land.
One other question, is the Mass Audubon or Sierra Club involved in any of this, do you know?
But not the,
They're-
you know, I'm sure they are at some point, but I'm not anything I've written.
The website is northeastenergyfuture.com. That's the website.
You can also go to massplans.org/maps, and they have pages and pages.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, just for what Heather said, I'm sorry for interrupting, we can list off some of the roads. 7 York is going to be affected. The upper part of Chestnut Street will be affected. Kimberly Terrace is going to be affected. Murphy Drive, it's kind of been in and out of there. Willis is going to be affected. It's going to go off. Glen Drive, I don't know if
No,
Glen's part of it.
it's
No.
way away from Glen Drive.
Yeah, so now, and then it kind of goes.
The new route doesn't go anywhere near Glen Drive.
And then it goes near Boston.
It follows the easement that's already there. There's an 80-foot
Yeah.
easement, it's following the easement that exists today. You know, so that goes parallel to Powder Hill and Willis, crosses over North Hill, and goes into the Water District land.
There's no benefit to affecting those neighborhoods. It's such I think a small benefit, if any, because it's such a regional benefit. And as you said, goes to the ocean, and there's other directions they might want to go with it. I mean, if I lived in that area, I mean, I'd be, and maybe it is the summer, we're not hearing the activity, but I know you have that on Thursday. So I think it's important to get that in the fall on our agenda to make sure they understand the devastation. I think that'd be devastating to me if that was my backyard. I don't care if it's 100 feet, 200 feet. I wouldn't want that. I've got that, and we had an explosion
Had a
at
gas
Hurley
station.
Burl about 8 years ago. I know it was a much smaller scale, but that shook my home. And it's something that, I mean, we live with stuff in our backyard up in South Linfield. I see no benefit to this at all.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we're gonna go under executive session.
We're gonna do the
What?
At the bottom.
Best Buddies Road Race.
You wanna
and
finish
the,
this first, and then we'll just do
yeah,
that and finish?
and then
Okay, I
we'll
got you.
adjourn. We'll
Okay.
come out of executive session.
Use of town facilities, use of streets, Best Buddies Road Race, September 20th, 2015.
Is this going along the same route that the other 5K mile road races that we've had? Is this the same
I think it is.
route?
Let me see. Do they give a route?
Yeah, they had the street-by-street turns.
Here it is, yeah. Oh, okay, it's coming out of Whole Foods area, yep, I got you. Is that gonna go through? Yep, here it is. Walnut, the Summer, back through Glen Meadow area. Then it comes back through Fernway and back to Market Street. That's similar to the other ones, but I don't think it's the exact one. I think it's
I mean,
similar.
if it was close and the neighbors, have we ever received any complaints regarding any of those road races?
We might have received one or two very mild complaints, but there was not any real.
What they've done is once the runners get past that point, they open the road back up.
pretty
And then they move to the next point and they open it back up. Of course, it gets spread out as the race goes on, but
Right.
they've been pretty good at opening it right back up, so it's not tying up too much time.
This is a 5K race, this will go
Fast.
I can run it really slow if I try. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll skip that
I'll
race.
follow the count. Good job.
I'm gonna race Chris.
Yeah, I don't want to hold the race up, so I'll just watch.
Okay. Well, looks like it's fine. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the road race?
I'll make a motion to approve the September 20th, 2015 Best Buddies Road Race.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We already did the liquor license. We got our minutes, the June 1st, the June 24th, and the July 13th meetings.
I'm fine. with
Jim, I
June
know this would be
1st.
the, I know I threw that curveball with the October 1st date. I know there was a lot of moving around of pieces.
Yeah, I was on vacation last week, Chris. So
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to
so-
sit down with Bob and go over those dates, but I'll do it with him this week.
Okay.
It's kind of difficult with Tom's vacation, town meeting, and
Yeah, no, I know there's a lot of moving parts, but of course, it was the one day where we have a couple of things going on at the high school.
plus my wife's birthday. You know, I don't have to come on my wife's birthday.
Any questions or comments on any of these meeting minutes from the last three meetings? No? We can approve them all in bulk if you'd like.
Sure.
Take a motion to approve the June 1st, the June 24th, and July 13th minutes.
So moved.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was my name mentioned in one of those minutes?
Yeah.
I would think so.
I doubt it.
I've spoken with Bob about
I
that.
know that our public things were put in minutes.
Oh, you're just saying it because it's on the internet?
Bob and I have talked about that, and we've resolved that.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But if you speak at a meeting, with
I don't know
open,
what it
Right.
said, but
Speaking of public
So,
meetings.
so do we need to adjourn this meeting and open
Yeah.
up the executive session?
You need a motion to go into executive session on the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, for the purposes of collective bargaining relative to the firefighters union, not returning to open session.
we need a roll call vote.
Aye.
Well, first you need a motion and a second.
Second.
And then the chairman has to state that going into executive session, having this discussion in open session would have a detrimental impact on the town's bargaining position, and that is why we're going into executive session.
We're going to executive session.
And
Having this session in open meeting would be detrimental to our bargaining position.
And then a roll call vote.
We have a roll call vote. Selectman Terranova?
Aye.
Selectman Barrett?
Aye.
Selectman Crawford? Aye.
You guys have it.
Couple minutes,
it's just a